Hello, and welcome once again to Mintamax 20. Tonight we will be continuing our... Oh, my camera's already blurry, sick. We will be continuing our Graveblade Inquisition Strike Team Stray arc. Let me go ahead and fix this stupid camera real quick. Okay, I was gonna say, if I blur it again, I'll be kind of upset. Alright, cool. I think we are all setty spaghetti on this. Alright, cool. Are you guys ready to do this thing? Jump right in. No one has anything left to say and do before we do this thing. Alright, so let me go and do a brief recap of last session. So last time was actually our first session of this arc, and so we kind of set the scene of the location in which we will be, kind of highlighting, which I'll actually go ahead and go up to my notes to kind of give a preface. Real quick. I went way too far up. So, we are in the mega city known as Magdomus. Which is kind of this collection of many different peoples and kind of cultures and walks of life in kind of this far-off continent known as Wyandir. This is a place of kind of renown, arcane kind of, what's the word? Advancement and kind of research, and because of this, there is a lot of kind of demand for artifacts that the kind of elite of this kind of echelon and kind of upper kind of status tiering of the society desires, so that they can continue to kind of push the boundaries of the arcane understanding and of like the limits, that people know of magic and how to harness it. And one such organization that does this, that sells these artifacts, retrieves them, and sells them, is known as the Graveblade Inquisition. Which is actually located deep beneath the ground, underneath the city itself, in a bunker, which is where they operate out of, and they have strike teams that go to another plane of existence known as Shadefall, which is kind of twisted, nightmarish reality that these teams go and brave the horrors in order to retrieve artifacts and bring them back, so they can either be researched themselves from the Inquisition. Well, usually the Inquisition will research them independently as well, but then usually when they're done, they will, depending on the magnitude of the artifact itself, they will go ahead and actually sell them off, or sell the kind of the research notes as well. So just some lore for that. And as we kind of zoomed in on the bunker itself, we came to Strike Team Stray, who had recently come into a new captaincy. We had Tiberius Orden, the captain. We had Brother Valdis, who is the kind of veteran, battle-hardened, entombed individual that has been on the team for a very long time. And then we have Dallin, who is kind of a long time. Well, I wouldn't say not as long as Tiberius or Valdis has been there for some time, and has at least have some sort of I would say reputation within the order. However, Tabix, the new engineer, is brand new to the team and is now kind of getting a feel for the area, as he got in the night before, not having a whole lot of time to kind of check things out. Dallin being kind of the one that kind of was the leader of this of the tour around, as they went to the various points in the actual bunker itself to ensure that he was familiarized and that everything was squared away for there was a mission brief coming up later that day, which usually mission briefs are pretty quick turnaround. The brief went down. You guys learned that you'd be going to a place called the Festering Woods. There was some strange occurrences there, and that there would be an artifact amongst some catacombs underneath this woods, and that you were to find it. However, the reconnaissance automaton known as LZR had been lost, and so they were hoping that maybe you could retrieve that as well. And then we ended the session kind of you guys making sure your gear was in the appropriate lockers in the deployment zone, and then all of you eventually returning to your respective rooms to get a night's rest before the inevitable 6 p.m. Kind of gathering of your gear, and then a 7 p.m. hopeful departure, or at least around that time. So that is where we left off. Now we jump back in, and however, tonight, I will say this, there will be a couple different things, but for these various things, I will ask for for the secret chat to be used. And so we will go ahead and start off. We'll go ahead and start off actually tonight with Brother Valdis. Before we jump over, as you kind of got yourself hooked up, retiring earlier than the rest of the party members, and you got yourself kind of hooked up to go into your kind of stasis-like kind of slumber. Eventually, I would say in this, though it does recharge the various life support systems that you have attached to yourself, you do find some sort of rest as well. Not always consistent. Also, is there a fan going on, Todd, in the background? I can hear something. There's like feedback.
It is a washing machine.
Oh, sick. So there, yes. So as you're kind of in this kind of stasis, you do kind of fade in and out of consciousness throughout it. And I will say, as part of this, as you do eventually kind of find yourself to kind of fall out of reality and enter into a slumber-like state, it is not uncommon for you to have, I would say, dreams of some sort, which is, but generally it's usually just darkness and you kind of just in the void. But tonight is one of those nights where you are you do have a dream. So we will go ahead and jump over to the secrets channel. If you want to meet me over there. Let's see here. How do I do that? Okay. All right, we will be over here. All right, let me go ahead and go ahead and turn on your video, please, and thank you. Yeah. I just have to kind of. So when you switch channels, it does have to like reload everything, but I do just have to pop everything back out. And then it will bring you up. 1 second. Oh. Why'd it do that? Now it's just two of me. Oh, oh, I know why.
You're talking to yourself now.
Yeah, it's both my cameras are in here right now. It's because it changed the... Well, that doesn't actually make any sense. Okay, hold on. Let me go ahead and adjust this real quick. No worries. We can just fix out these technical difficulties. Secrets. Let me go ahead and... Yeah, I don't know why. I thought I cropped it. To where it's just one person, because that, like, there's only ever gonna be one person in this actual, in this channel. So I don't know why it, like, kind of, it was cropped to where there was, like, be two people in this channel. So it's just weird. Please hold on, everybody who is watching, just as we fix this. Also, thank you, Sharky. I thought it was pretty cool that we have this set up. Yeah, kind of sets the scene a little bit for the secrets. Just gotta get it figured out, though. Okay, that is good for now. We will go ahead and do that. Okay, so let me go ahead and change the music here.
Lay it on me.
Yes, sir. Oh, actually, that's not the song I want to use. I want to use... Okay. So, as you kind of... And I will say, this is like the probably third or fourth time tonight that you have kind of come in and out of consciousness, you know, because the pain, though you do have dampeners and your life support does do a good job of keeping, keeping the pain to a minimum. There is obviously still obviously points in which you do get those jolts, and so it's kind of hard for you to actually gain any sort of rest or semblance of rest. However, eventually one of these do take you, and as you find yourself you kind of come to in this dream. And as you're sitting in this space, it's interesting, and this is not unfamiliar to you, but as you're kind of sitting there, you can see there's a circular table kind of you're sitting at in a chair of some sort. There's a circular table. You're kind of looking into like a tankard of some sort as you kind of hold it, and you're kind of just, put, your other hand kind of just tapping on the wood, kind of thinking to yourself. You can hear kind of the muffled atmosphere around you. However, as you kind of just look around briefly, and as you're kind of in this almost, it's in your perspective, but you're not in control, if that makes sense. You're kind of just sitting here, you're reliving something, a memory. As you're kind of just looking around, you can, it's interesting because it's almost like anything beyond a 5-foot bubble around this circular kind of table is almost like a blur, and is like, it's almost like it's not being rendered, if that makes sense. It's not, there's no detail. It's like you can see outlines. It's almost like a sketch, and everything, there's a lot of detail within this little bubble that you're existing in. Which is not unfamiliar to you because, with how long you've been entombed into this armor and you've been kept alive, your memory fleets from certain things. And so this is kind of almost the way that your brain copes with things, is it recalls certain segmented pieces, but it's hard to kind of fully form pictures, even in a dreamlike portion. It's a very weird emulation of your kind of mental status. But you're
in my armor during this?
As you're looking around, you're sitting in your chair. As you look down, and as you can see, with your one hand holding the tankard and your other hand kind of tapping onto the table, you can see your limbs. You can see both your arms fully formed and in a non-damaged state. You kind of look down, just kind of thinking to yourself. You're wearing just casual clothes. You're in a time before you were gravely injured. You're in a time where, long ago, where you had full functionality of your entire body, and you had the freedom to kind of exist in the world without any support. And it's kind of in this space, you're kind of just thinking to yourself, and you can hear kind of some music off in the distance. It's all muffled though. It's like you're almost underwater in a way. And as you're sitting here, eventually one of the muffling kind of voices eventually is kind of like, and it kind of, it's muffled, you can't really pick it up, but it's starting to get louder and kind of off to your left. And as you're kind of sitting here, and as you can hear it approaching, you look over, and kind of coming into recognizable kind of visual space, you can see this kind of longer haired human man. You can kind of see he has kind of a nice close kept beard. He has some scarring on his face. You can see that his eyebrow kind of isn't fully pieced together from a scar that he runs down his face. But even then, some of the details are a little bit hard to discern, But as he comes up, you cannot for the life of you remember the name of this individual. But as he comes up to you, you do hear, "Hey, Valdis, it's your turn up for darts. You gonna join us?" As he kind of gestures back to like a neighboring wall off to the space that you can't really see.
Yeah, I'll be there in a second.
All right, cool. I want to say, I think we got one more, and then it's weird because as he says the name, it's almost like he just goes, "Yeah, we got one more. Just wait for it," and then you'll be up. It's like he says the name, but it's such a distant memory that it almost just like warps over, and it doesn't recall or recollect with yourself, and it's just a weird feeling. And he's like, "All right, and then just don't forget to bring your..." Oh, and then he'll reach over and forgot this as he grabs his tankard and kind of, "All right, see you over there," as he makes his way back. And kind of as he walks away, you can hear the footsteps distinctly, but as they walk farther and further away, they become muffled and they just go with the rest of the atmosphere of the noise.
Guess I'll take one more drink from my tankard, and then I'll stand up and head over.
Okay, so as you go ahead and you stand up and you go ahead and make your way over, it's odd, but as you move throughout the space, the bubble of reality that you kind of currently exist in does follow you. And as you walk, the clarity kind of starts to shape around. So as you're walking through the various tables of this tavern of some sorts, as you're kind of looking around now, go ahead and make me a history check with a disadvantage.
Those two nat 20s.
No, it was not really.
Yeah, it was.
Nice, dude. Nice. All right, cool. Hell yeah. All right, let's go ahead. Just one quick second. Let me get some notes going here. Two natural. This man's brain is on overdrive.
My brain just pops and I die before the mission.
Yeah, your brain blows up. No, so as you go ahead and make your way across the space, you look around, and I would say with two nat 20s on a disadvantage check, this bubble of clarity expands to about 10-15 feet, and it kind of begins to kind of occupy this space. You can see more, you can hear people laughing, you can hear the drinks, the audio around you becomes a little bit clearer. I mean, there's obviously the muffling of a lot of people talking, but you can kind of hear the music a little bit more clearly. And as you're making your way over, you can see your kind of group of compatriots. A couple of them being on your strike team, two of them being on your strike team. A couple other ones just other strike team members. But you do remember with a natural 20, you do remember that this was a tavern known as the Sunken Rat. It was a tavern a long time ago that you and your strike team buddies, a couple of them would come up into the surface and kind of partake in some merriment outside of missions and whatnot. And you guys are, in just for context of the world, you guys are obviously the bunker is in like kind of a secured kind of like rundown building to kind of fit the aesthetic of the area you're in, because you guys are in one of the entrance to the bunker is one of the poorest portions of the city. So so when you go out and you partake in some of the local things, it's obviously run down. It's not very well maintained, but it's still it's still a drink, it's still a good time. So you guys do go up there. Being able to interact with the world is always good. So you're here in the Sunken Rat just after a mission. Can't really remember which mission it is, but also with that natural 20, you do remember Temin. Temin was one of your strike team members. And this is a while ago. And as you recall the name, as you associate with the individual who came over here, you're thinking this is probably maybe 10 plus years ago, maybe some time ago. Well, actually, I guess hold on. How long have you been injured? I would suppose would be. Because the order I would say has been around probably for, I would say, just to ballpark it, probably 50-ish or so years, maybe more.
Well, I was thinking that I was a full-fledged Inquisitor. Well, I guess I was a full-fledged Inquisitor. I would say, like, all this has been around since the forming of the order. Injured-wise, maybe 20 years.
Okay, so yeah, it's before then. So it's deep back. It's 20, 15, 20. It is way back there. It's kind of hard to recall anyway, but you just know it's been a while. But as you make your way over to the wall where there's a dartboard kind of set up, there's your handful of individuals. Temin, but there's also you do see Nulair as well. And I can say these names as well if you'd like a little bit later. But you do see him. He's kind of currently up. And this was the name that earlier was kind of almost rejected by your mind and your consciousness. You do remember him. And then you just see the couple other individuals that are there. And you see him throw his last dart as you're stepping up. And kind of he whiffs it kind of up off and kind of above the dartboard off to the right. He's like, damn it. Oh, you don't stop yelling so much. Oh, jeez. And he kind of like punches one of them playfully, but then walks over to them and kind of grabs all the darts. He turns around and goes, oh, Voldis, it's about time. Here you go. And he kind of comes over, hands you all the darts and goes, all right. And he kind of slaps you on the shoulder as you take them from him. And he kind of steps back to brace. And all right, let's see what you got.
Oh, that shot won't be too hard to beat you.
Okay, all right. Listen. I'll have you know that I was this close to the center not 2 shots ago. While you're out drinking by yourself, being all edgy and weird. I was close. You just happened to give me a bad time. All right, you go. Let's see.
That's what they all say.
Okay, all right. Let's see it then. He kind of crosses his arms. Go ahead and make some dexterity checks for me. Just make 2 dexterity checks to see how your hand goes.
15 and a 19.
15 and 19. Yeah, you just sink them. Darts being kind of one of your more dabbled in pastimes, as you sink them all on the board. One of them a couple of them getting pretty close to the center, but generally a good score overall as you kind of throw the last dart and kind of look over to Nulair and him be like, all right, I see, okay, all right, fuck you. Timon's like, yeah, honestly, with that aim, Nalair, I think I might need to go back and get some more target practice out there. Jeez. As you go ahead and make your way up to the wall, and you kind of go ahead and take out all the darts, and as you kind of look back, as you pull out the last dart, almost simultaneously, there's a twinge kind of like that spikes through your mind as you, and as you kind of put the dart back into your hand. As you kind of look back, you can see that kind of extended reach of your bubble of clarification, we'll call it, has kind of starting to kind of almost creep back in. You can kind of see it. There's like almost like a distinct edge line of where it is. It starts to kind of creep, and you can kind of feel these surges kind of hitting your brain as you kind of wince as you kind of take a step to like return the darts kind of instinctually. And as these winces of pain kind of hit your mind, it kind of shifts the barrier and shifts it, and pretty soon you can see Timon like, hey Valdis, you good man? Hey Valdis, and like his voice kind of morphs back into the kind of distance as you kind of fall to one knee, and as you're kind of looking around, you can see his and before too long, it's literally just like your immediate vision. You can see it's like you're underwater. It's blurry. Open your eyes underwater. It's blurry. It's hard. Everything is just muffled, and you have a little bit of kind of heavy breathing kind of sets in as you're kind of overtaken by this. Before you just kind of see almost everything just kind of curtain fall to black, and you're just almost in this kind of spotlight of a space as there's no detail anymore. You're just kind of in the void with a single beat of light, kind of like our scene that we have for the stream. You're just kind of in the void. However, though it is saddening that, this kind of memory that you had, this kind of moment of joy that kind of brought you back sometime to, better times, you relished in that. However, with the pain of the headaches, and in this kind of void, kind of lightless space in this void, the pain subsides, and it's almost comforting. This is something that you've experienced. This is like kind of the void that you've had to live with for many years since your grave wounding. As you kind of sit here, what is Valdis thinking about?
I'm not sure. I would just say probably just briefly about. Well, I guess the memory would have faded from the strike team that I was just interacting with, right?
Yes, everything is now just gone. You're just in like a pitch black, kind of a singular beat of light coming from who knows where, as you kind of just sit now in this space, still on one knee, kind of just like propped up, no longer like wincing of pain. You're just kind of amidst this space.
I would say more at this point, with how long like something like this has been going on, that once like the memory, the hazy memory like that fades, then he doesn't really think about much. Like he's more relief just to really not be thinking about anything.
Right. And that's kind of met with kind of the calmness of your mind as the pain kind of stops, kind of finishes its kind of spasm. And you kind of just think about this, and then it's almost like a light just turning off, and it's just darkness as you are now brought kind of back into that in between of slumber and dreamlike kind of stage. You're just kind of at a rest. We will go ahead and now jump back into the main chats, if that works for you. All right.
I will say though, before we go though, with like the Warforged, I would say like in the kind of blank state, I do have like awareness of my surroundings.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so I would say maybe like beside, because it's weird, because like in your dream it could feel like hours, but like something like that sort of memory would probably take, barely any time. So like while Valdis is in stasis, like in his room, like he would notice anybody that comes in.
Yeah,
that's more of like the rule for like the Warforged kind of.
Yeah,
but it's like Sentry's Rest, I think.
Gotcha.
So
cool. Sounds good, man.
All
right, back to it. All right, you squeebs. Let me go ahead. Are you in my room? I actually don't know why I'm actually punching all this stuff back up because next, Dolan, if you'd go ahead and follow me into the secrets chat.
Oh,
Oh
no.
my god,
I
bro.
do need.
Oh, no.
10 years later.
Dude, hey, how about you go play some
Hey,
Roblox
go
or
get
something?
Five Guys, bro.
I'm playing City Skylines right now.
All right, I'll meet you. Oh, he's already gone. Cool. Yeah, I literally started putting everything back over, but my intention was to literally just come over here with you. So this should hopefully work.
Right.
Okay, that was a little more seamless than last time. Let's go ahead and get some music going here. Okay. So, my motherfucker, Dolan. What's up? So, I want to say you went to your room about, what was it, like 8 or 9 o'clock last night? Okay. So as you go to your room and you kind of get yourself prepared to go to sleep, as you go ahead and do your nightly rituals as you do. You're kind of at this point getting yourself prepared to get finally into bed as you kind of pull the covers up off kind of back as you go ahead and kind of take a seat on it, kind of just breathe to yourself, and as you kind of just what are you thinking about right now, right before you kind of tuck yourself into your covers?
That I'm here to keep them alive. That is the one and only reason I'm here, is to keep people alive.
Gotcha.
And that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, and I feel like with that kind of, Tabix comes to mind, of course, and being brand new. You kind of already kind of taking him under your large Goliath wing, kind of showing him around, and I feel like at least forming some sort of connection with him. So I'm sure he's probably on the forefront of your mind a little bit as you're thinking of safeguarding the team, but also to ensure that this new guy doesn't get, immediately smoked right out the rip here.
Making mistakes leads to death, and the people most likely to make mistakes are those that are new, so I'll be sticking with them.
Yep, sounds good. As you're thinking about this, though, you start to feel some warmth coming from the scar that runs down your face. And as this warmth kind of starts to set in, it's almost like a twinge of not pain per se, but just like soreness, some deep soreness. And is it running over your left? How's the scar running again?
It's top left, bottom right.
Okay.
Just straight across.
So yeah, straight across. You can feel it as it starts kind of on the edges of your scar. And as it starts to you can feel it kind of, it feels like it's almost moving or alive as it starts to it feels like it's almost stitching something back together as it then eventually meets the bridge of your nose, as it's feels of these pins and needles. And as it does so, you can choose to resist, or you can choose to automatically fail. But you do know of this to kind of be where something projects and you have a vision or a something, like a projection of your mind and your state of being to somewhere else, typically to Shadefall generally, but not necessarily always the case.
I will fail.
Before you make the decision, I will say, just as for context, not all of them are insightful and pleasant. Sometimes they're horrific, just nightmarish kind of nightmarish kind of living kind of terrors that kind of come to you. Sometimes they are insightful, sometimes they are terrors. Depending on what it is, it can affect you going into the next day.
I will elect to fail.
You elect to fail. Okay. So as it kind of stitches, and you can feel the scarring almost as it kind of comes together to the bridge of your nose, you can almost feel it kind of puncture into your skull and almost in some ways gain control over your mind. And as it does so, you can kind of feel your eyes start to kind of burn slightly. And you can feel this kind of this almost heavy fog over your mind as you kind of close your eyes and you try to regain yourself. as you're kind of sitting there, you can feel that the effect has taken hold, and as you're kind of looking around, like trying to see where it's projecting from, you look over to a mirror hanging on your wall that's kind of above your dresser. And let me go ahead and switch this. I should have probably had this music to begin with, but you see the mirror on the far side of the wall. You can start to see it's, instead of you, well, briefly you see yourself and you see the scar, and you can see this kind of purplish hue of energy kind of emitting from it. And as you're kind of looking, you can see the pupils of your eyes almost like a vibrant purple, as they are very predominant in this darkened space. So all you can really see is the scar in your eyes in this reflection, as there's no light kind of emitting from into your space. But then as you're looking at it, you can see the visage of the scar on the eyes kind of shift to just this almost black kind of fog, as the mirror starts to warp and changes what the projection of it is. And as it does so, do you want to get closer? It's probably about, I don't know, probably about 10 or 15 so feet across the room.
I'll I'll get to a bit where I think I would be able to see my entire body encapsulated in the mirror. Only that close.
Okay. So as you stand up and you bridge this gap a bit, nothing too crazy close. Your body is no longer being reflected from this mirror. It is now just kind of this kind of cloudy visage of just darkness, kind of swirling. But as you do step closer, you can feel this kind of connection of your mind drawing to the mirror. And as you do kind of bridge that gap some of the shadow and the clouds kind of disperse a little bit, and they start to they kind of almost open up from the middle onto the exterior, still staying there, kind of almost this border of the mirror kind of floating, kind of encircling this visage. As you look, you can see like this dark interior space. As things start to come into visual kind of understanding, you can see that there's this almost like kind of long, kind of grandiose hall of some sort. You can see like large supporting pillars kind of broken in places and kind of half connected to the ceiling, half connected to the ground. Other portions of the pillars kind of intact, but you can see crumbling of stone kind of from the integrity of the structure being damaged. As you're looking in this space, it almost feels like you yourself are walking kind of through, as you're kind of just like continually moving forward. Go ahead and make me an insight check real quick.
All right. Insight. That'll be a 19.
19, nice. So you just kind of recalling to yourself, like there is sometimes some sort of agency when it comes to these visions. This one is kind of unique in its own sense, but this isn't unfamiliar to you in the sense of like sometimes the projections will go onto things. It's not always like when you're sleeping or something more traditional like that. And so as you're kind of you know, like, okay, let me test some of the bounds of this real quick, and you do look left and you do look right and kind of up and down, and you do see as you're walking through this space, you yourself can, like, as you look left in the room, you can see that the mirror's image turns left. And it's strange because the mirror, as you look left, the mirror follows. Like, wherever you look now, the mirror continues to be in your form, in the sense of the silhouette. However, your vision in the space is turning. Does that make sense? So it's like, instead of looking straight as you were kind of in this big chamber, as you look left in your room, the mirror itself, like that you can look through, shifts, but the visual you see in the mirror is now looking left in the space. Same for looking right, and if you were to look up, you can kind of now look up and you see these pillars kind of continue to run and connect to the ceiling. And as you are looking around, you can see that the space is heavily dilapidated. You can see portions of the ceiling kind of crushed down and fallen, and kind of stacks of rocks around. You can see it goes on for a couple hundred feet as it continues. It is this massive chamber. It almost seems like you walked through like an archway and have now walked into this space. Make a perception check for me, will you?
Okay. Perception. That'll be a 13.
13. Okay. As you're looking around, you kind of looking in the space. You're just it's hard to notice a lot of detail, but you do see something kind of off in the middle of this, kind of a little bit farther down the way. You can see this almost kind of this raised kind of central platform in the middle of the space, probably another 100 to 150 feet off. It's kind of, as there's like a couple steps, like circular kind of steps that go up into this raised kind of top portion. And as you're looking, though, as you look to the left, looking to the right, just kind of gaining your surroundings, you can see something in the rubble off to the right, kind of pushed up kind of towards the right wall. It's probably about I don't know, probably about 60, 70 feet off to the side. And you're kind of, you try to will yourself to slow down or stop, but your body continues to move. And so you kind of zone in on it. And as you kind of are looking, you can almost see, it's hard to tell with your 13, but you can see something of maybe like an arm of some sort protruding underneath this kind of collapsed portion of rock. Maybe like it almost looks like a forearm and a hand of some sort. Perhaps, and then maybe it looks almost maybe like a foot. It's kind of jetting out as well, but the rocks kind of are toppled over it.
Can I will myself to go faster towards the rubble?
So you're going straight into this chamber. So when you tried to make yourself stop, you couldn't stop. It's almost like you're just at a normal pace walking as you're going through this chamber. You did notice that, and it's like you're looking at it, but your body is still moving. I would say go ahead and make an Arcana check to see if you can maybe interject here a little bit from this kind of power that's taken hold.
That'll be 19.
Nice. Okay, that's really good. Yeah, so you first try to stop it, and it doesn't seem that you can stop on your own volition, but you kind of will yourself, kind of gaining this kind of power back, kind of tapping into this arcane nature of this projection and kind of almost pulling it to your will a little bit as you then kind of turn and kind of thrust yourself off to the side, and now you're making your way over towards this rubble. And kind of, so as you kind of cut over, and I will say it's not like direct line. You've almost kind of veered off, like the powers that be are trying to push you forward, but you kind of are able to cut off and at least make your way towards that section. As you get closer, you can tell, even in the space, and there's like oddly like little bits of light that come through some of the fractured ceiling, and it's almost like maybe the power of this arcane scarring and the power that lies within you can almost help like discern what's in the darkness. And as you are looking, you can see that it is in fact an arm of some sort. However, it's humanoid in construction, but it appears to be metallic in nature. And your first thought would instantly snap to the automaton. Potentially, the automaton that this is kind of going off of your insight check earlier. The automaton that they were mentioning going lost in the catacombs, the LZR automaton at the briefing, if you remember that at the briefing.
Mm-hmm.
And that this could be potentially maybe the fate of that robot.
Could I look above the rubble area and see if I could maybe discern a reason the rubble fell down?
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check for me. Actually, go ahead and make me an insight check. It'd be more of an insight to determine what you'd be seeing.
That is a 23 total.
23, damn. All right, sounds good. As you're looking, so as you've been glancing around this space, you've noticed that there has been like some sort of wear and tear of the space, and you're kind of familiar to that because there are a lot of structures and things that you go to in Shadefall that are obviously ancient, and there's been normal things. But this almost looks like something damaged it. Something like there was an impact of some sort that caused this portion of the ceiling to fall, and collapse down. As you're kind of looking up in that direction, it's hard to really see. But I would say at this point, as you're looking up, you kind of are now jerked back, kind of back towards the center of this large kind of chamber, and you're now making your way back towards the middle again. Go ahead and I would say you're almost towards this raised portion. Go ahead and make me another perception check. It's almost like center of this massive chamber, this massive hall of sorts. Go ahead and make me a perception check.
Did I get anything like definite on the reasoning for the? I didn't.
It was an impact of some sort.
Impact against the ceiling or from the top of the
against the ceiling. Something on this. It seems like something manipulated the ceiling, and the impact might have hit it, and it caused a large section to crumble and fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so now perception check.
Yes.
That would be a 7.
7. Okay. Okay. As you 7. Okay. So as you're making your way towards this kind of raised portion, there is these kind of large circular kind of steps that kind of step up to this central kind of podium of some sort. As there's this kind of this raised kind of a narrow kind of supporting piece of structure of stone, as it then kind of bulges out into this kind of large kind of bowl shape kind of top to it. The top being kind of actually, yeah, it's like a bowl. So as you kind of are looking, you can see that there is no top to this kind of raised kind of bowl. There's something in recessed within. But as you kind of as you're now willed to stop, you can look and you can see floating above this kind of raised up, and you can see these kind of like glowing segmented pieces kind of coming from this bowl. As you're seeing elevated and kind of shifting in space, kind of going back and forth, almost gyrating on an inobservable kind of energy. This the 3-sided kind of pyramidal piece of relic of some sort, piece of kind of metallic, strange, otherworldly kind of device, kind of just floating amidst this space. It kind of just, and you can hear it kind of like humming with power. As you've walked across this, you can hear it as it's gotten much louder. You can see kind of on each pyramidal face, you can see these kind of large, like kind of almost holes that are scattered each kind of face. You can see arcane runes kind of pulsing in and out and kind of going across, and it is an alien artifact, which you're not super unfamiliar with, considering the fact that this is the business that you dabble in. But it is still strange as it continues to be so whenever you find these kinds of things. And this, I will say, I mean, just because the information is so fresh to you, this seems to replicate the pyramidal structure or shape of whatever the relic was that the mission brief had also entailed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as you kind of see this, and you're just kind of, your attention based off your perception check is so encapsulated on this, you're kind of looking at it, observing it, kind of getting some of the details before all of a sudden it kind of this kind of spike. And I will go ahead and make... You will be taking 4 points of psychic damage as all of a sudden it kind of, your brain kind of jolts, and you are now thrust from this space as you are now kind of brought back the mirror on the wall, just hanging, nothing. You can as the imagery kind of fades, you can still see the pulsing of, or the kind of the purplish hues of your eyes, and the scar slowly kind of fade over a couple seconds. And now you're just standing there in your room.
What time is it at this point?
So you look up to the clock. It's about, I mean, you were just getting ready for bed, so it's probably about 9 or so p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, you hadn't gone to bed quite yet. This was like right before.
I will shake it off and continue getting ready for bed.
Sounds good.
I'm ready to sleep.
Okay. So as you go ahead and kind of shake it off, kind of you're sweating, you kind of, I have to wipe your head, you almost can, you go maybe douse some water, get, kind of get your bearings back as you, and it kind of takes a second for your mind to come back to ease. This is not it's not a easy process to kind of participate in. So you kind of have to get yourself calm again. You feel your breath kind of heavy as you kind of relax, but you do eventually find yourself kind of coming back down and getting yourself ready for bed and finally falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and jump on back to the main channel. Unless you have any other questions.
No, that should be
okay.
That should be good.
Cool. Going back. Alrighty. Alright. We appreciate your patience for the rest of our party members here. Alright. So, Let me go ahead and switch everything over. Okay. So, obviously that happened for those individuals that I took aside. However, as the night kind of draws on and continues, as you guys, as hours pass, as it creeps ever slowly towards your time to wake up and get ready for your mission. It's about, I would say at this point, about probably, early hours of the morning before you, Tiberius, you hear a vibrating on your nightstand as you are getting you're getting some sort of message sent to you or out to you as you kind of come into consciousness, as you can hear the vibration as you're kind of rubbing, kind of getting your bearings of your room. You look over to the clock that's kind of slightly illuminated, nothing to be abrasive, but you can see it's probably about 4:30 in the morning as you're coming to, and you can hear the Yep.
Okay, cool. I don't have any dreams. I'm just like not dreaming.
You're just not dreaming, bro. You're coming to.
Damn. Hey, well, I wake up and I'm like, hey, we gotta get ready to go. So I begin the preparation.
You do know the meeting at the deployment zone is at 6 p.m. and you do also know that the vibration from your intercom kind of headset piece is an incoming call.
Oh. Well, I guess I pick up my piece then.
Okay, you pick up your piece, you put it into your ear, kind of getting it affixed properly. Immediately, kind of coming over the intercom, you hear a very awake and kind of too loud for your just having woken up ears as you hear, "Good morning, Captain. The Master of Reconnaissance is requesting an additional briefing at 5:30 this morning to give you additional details on the mission that is to be executed at 7 a.m. If you would go ahead and rally your team." The Master of Reconnaissance says that she wanted to give additional details to kind of fine-tune some things that may have been left out from yesterday's briefing.
Okay, I guess.
Yes, she was requesting that you gather your team and you meet in the briefing room at 5:30.
All right, we will be there.
Thank you, Captain, for your time. As he cuts back out.
Oh, gosh darn. So what time was that? 6?
So your meeting at the deployment zone to get ready is at 6. It is currently 4:30. The briefing now is at 5:30 that you've just been briefed on.
Okay, well, I guess I gotta get ready to go. So I I go to the mess hall.
Okay, sounds good. So as you go ahead and get yourself kind of up, get yourself rest for the day, for the mission, you go ahead and exit out of your quarters. Do you wake anybody else up, or are you just heading straight to the mess hall?
Well, it's at 6 p.m. and it's 6 a.m. right now?
It's 6 a.m. is when you're departing.
Oh, what time is it right now?
It's 4:30 a.m.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, how can I, is there a way I can, check if my hitters are awake, or do I need to,
You can
go and check on them?
You would need to knock on their doors. You would not be able to know if they're awake or not.
Well, I don't go. I just go to the mess hall. I don't talk to anyone.
Okay, sounds good. As you go ahead and make your way over to the mess hall, kind of exiting out of the strike team quarters and going across that open kind of space, you do make your way down the hallways, cutting left, kind of towards that bridging, which I actually will go ahead and pull up the visuals again, so that way you guys can see, who are watching, the kind of rough outline of the main floor here, or of the bunker. So as you make your way over to the mess hall, you start to smell as you're making your way. And all the doors to all these doors to the connecting kind of hallways and spaces within the bunker are closed, as they are typically done within the early hours of operation. You go ahead and make your way through all of them, and as you open the door to the mess hall and kind of get a whiff of the interior of the space, you do catch the familiar sense of the food, of the very good food that the Inquisition does provide for all of its members. So as you go ahead and make your way over to the kind of buffet style kind of little window area, you go and gather up your food. I will say that just to emphasize, your team does not know of this meeting at 5:30. Just for your understanding, it is only disseminated to the captain.
I don't know. They'll be there regardless of how they feel.
Okay, I'm just letting you know.
I got you.
There are a couple other individuals here within that mess hall. There's very few. It's like graveyard shift individuals. They're kind of dressed up in their Inquisition outfits and attire. They are all still looking professional, even at this early in the morning. You're probably the most unprofessional looking one, only because, you know, it's a little bit different when it comes to it's a little bit different when it comes to the strike teams and what they need to uphold for visual appearance. So you're just chilling basically. So you get all your food. And you go and sit down, you go ahead and eat. Anything else you'd like to do?
No, I just kind of eat.
Okay, sounds good. I would say by the time you're done eating, it is probably going to be, since there wasn't a big line, I'd say it's probably about 4:50 or so by the time you're done eating.
Okay, so I'll be eating. Am I waiting? Is everyone else, or, you know, when it's like 4:50?
Yeah, it's 4:50.
I'm like sitting there. I go back to my room to change.
Okay, what time do the rest of you normally get up in the morning before a mission? The rest of you, hello?
Usually the tail end of when breakfast is served lasts like 20 minutes.
Okay, so I would say the usually the mess hall is open a couple hours before the missions, just because people have their different schedules and whatnot. A lot of the supporting staff have to obviously, you know, get fed and stuff before they go and do everything. So I would say that generally the mess hall does close out like at the same time that it hits your deployment zone. Like by the time that you guys have to be at the deployment zone is usually when the mess hall is closing out and finishing. So so
then probably about like 4, right? 4. Then all right, if that's not a thing. 4 gets up.
Okay, sounds good. So at 4 in the morning, and then Tabix, what time would you be up, do you think, for your first mission?
Probably hour and a half, 2 hours early.
Okay.
So if it's, what was it, 6:36?
So it'd be 6 when you need to be there at the actual zone. So I would say you'd probably be up maybe at 4 or so.
Yeah, probably 4.
Okay, sounds good. So you're up at 4, getting yourself kind of prepared and whatnot. What's your passive perception, Brother Valdez?
Brother Valdez?
16.
I would say, since you are in a dormant-like kind of state, I would say that, and not truly fully necessarily asleep, I would say that you would hear probably the first to go to the actual mess hall. It'd probably be you, Tabix, huh? Because you'd be up, you'd change, you get yourself ready, and I'd say you'd probably be out making your way over there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll have to retcon a couple things, because, you know, the pacing of this stuff's a little bit different. But I would say that as you're in the mess hall, because since you're kind of eating, you probably have been in there probably by about 4:15, 4:20 or so, gang. I would say you probably see Captain Tiberius making his way in. And then Nathan, you said, when would you be there?
Probably like 10, 15 after I wake up.
Okay. So honestly, I would say that kind of going back here, I would say, and then Brother Valdez, when you kind of hear shifting outside of your space, would you be up?
No, I'll initiate reboot sequence at 4:30.
Okay. And that would take a little bit of time.
So, and then I would rise at 5 and then head to the Hall of Warriors.
Okay.
And wait for the mission drop.
Sounds good. Okay, so I would say kind of whoop. So I would say that Captain Tiberius, as you make your way into the mess hall and you finish gathering your things, you turn around and go to make a perception check for me real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a perception check for me.
Oh,
Yeah, bro.
let me get my dice. So 1 sec. 1 second, brother.
Sounds good.
I'm rolling a perception check. Perception, perceiving. Roll dice. All right, let me look at let me pull up a nat 20 here. We gotta hit a roll on that. You gotta hit a roll on that. Okay, we got a 3. We got a 3.
Okay.
But we got +8 to perception, so we got a 11.
11. Okay, sounds good. I would say off your 11, as you're kind of looking around, or I would say you there's not very many people in this space, as I kind of described earlier. You go.
My passive is 18 though.
Your passive is 18. So I would say
my passive wisdom perception is 18.
Yeah. So as you go and you sit down at one of the tables, as you were looking around to see if you could discern, just kind of gaining in the space. You go and you sit down, and after you kind of sit down for a second, get yourself settled at a table, you do kind of look around and kind of almost instinctually know, like, okay, hold on. And you look around, you do actually see Dallin and Tabix both, I would assume, staying together in the mess hall.
Oh. I go up to them. I approach them.
Okay.
Morning, Captain.
Morning. We have a secondary briefing occurring at 5:30, so I need you both to be there timely.
Oh, where? In the same place?
The briefing room?
Yeah, in the same place.
Briefing room? Got it.
I'll see you guys there. Be ready.
Will do, sir.
See you there.
Cool. So as
I walk to go back to what I was doing and changing.
Okay. So so after you would eat, use when you would go over them, and then you'd walk out.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Dallin and Tabix, anything you would like to discuss as you eat your morning meal?
You feel nervous, Tabix?
A bit so, yes. But I have strong faith in our success.
I'm not gonna lie, I had got a bit of a vision of what I'm pretty sure might have been the fate of this drone that got sent out. I think I got a bit of a vision of the fate of that drone.
Real quick, go ahead and make
hopefully not ours.
Maybe a perception check there, Tabix.
Roll that.
As he says that.
What do I have for my modifier on perception?
74.
78.
23.
23. Damn. No. So as he says that, you're kind of like, and you're like, okay, that's already a strange statement already. And then as you're looking at him, and it's hard to avoid the massive scar that runs across his face. And as you're looking at his facial structure as he is talking, you can see almost just a little glistening of it. Almost looks kind of like lightning, kind of, in a way, as it kind of like shoots across the scar. It is so faint that it's almost like you have to like wait, like you see it and you're like, okay, like you don't visually change your face, but you're like, okay, and then it almost like shoots across the scar kind of tissue again, and you're like, okay, that was definitely something. And then as you kind of look back into the eyes of him, you can almost see this twinge of purple as it kind of almost like, it's just a hue. It's really strange, and you wouldn't have caught it, but you're very keen with your perception, and so you pick that up. And continue, Dallin, if you'd like to, or as he finishes that statement, if you'd like to respond.
What do you mean a vision? And what happened?
Occasionally, just powers from outer planes tend to have influence on my state of mind. Not for any meaningful period of time, just enough that I can basically see a bit of what some of these crazy powers that be see. And we entered into a cathedral of sorts, where in a pile of rubble was the drone that was sent, and next to it was a bit of like a raised dais with the artifact that fit the description of what we were looking for. And it appeared that there was an impact into the ceiling where all the rubble was.
How do you interpret that?
So far, I've been interpreting them literally. I'm thinking this is exactly what we're going to find.
Do you think that's good news or bad news for us?
I think it can give us an idea of what to expect.
Okay. You say you see what the higher beings see, is that correct?
Well, things on other planes tend to be more magically inclined, and so tend to see things deeper than what we can see into the world.
Is that normal around here?
I think magic has a strong influence in this culture, and at least with the Inquisition.
Fair. Okay. Well, I'm glad we know better what we are looking for, but I'm intrigued by the situation as well. I am not sure what to take of that.
Well,
but I look forward to.
I will definitely be telling Captain Tiberius about this and seeing
It may be beneficial
if he can make
briefing.
any plans about it.
Yeah, may want to bring this up in the briefing for someone more qualified than I.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone else can make heads or tails of this.
Because I am left bewildered by that information.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. All right. Well, enjoy your breakfast. I'm gonna go wait in the briefing room.
I think we've got a bit of time before the brief, Tavix.
I shall get comfy.
This man is your tray done, or are you just like, okay, I'm gonna go?
I imagine it's almost done. I've been eating as we talk.
Okay, you're like more eating than talking at this point.
Yeah, I go, okay, this is weird.
All right,
this is spooky.
Sounds good. So as you go ahead and you just go ahead and stand up, Dalin kind of as he stands up. You're kind of like
go back to eating.
Yeah, you're kind of like okay, a little bit. As he just kind of stands up and leaves, as you kind of impart this information to him, and you finishing off your food. Obviously, you'd have more being a Goliath of larger nature, so it is not uncommon for you to be the last one eating. Tabix, you go ahead and put up your tray, and as you make your way over to the briefing rooms, Brother Valdis, as you have now activated your boot up process, as you get everything situated and figured out, you will. It is probably about now. You said what time? You said 4:30 when you turn on.
It'd be 5.
5. Okay, so at 5 o'clock you start. It's a 5-ish or so minute process as you get everything figured out. Everything starts to function properly for your daily needs, and then you go ahead and exit your quarters and make your way over to the Hall of Warriors. I would say probably at this point, as you're making your way, as you can, I would say with your high passive perception, Tiberius, you can definitely hear the footfalls coming out of the hallway where all the strike team bays are, and you know this to be Brother Valdis making his way as he kind of comes out of the hallway, kind of standing tall, looming, his big presence as he walking. If you want to make any interaction, Tiberius.
Brother Valdis, do you see me?
He's off to your left, coming back from towards the mess hall.
Brother Valdis.
Yes, Captain.
Brother.
What is it?
We will have a secondary briefing occurring at 5:30. Please be there timely, or we shall have. Please be there quickly and kindly. Do you understand me?
Affirmative, Captain.
Radio then. I will see you then. Goodbye, bitch.
As you're walking.
Keep walking.
As you're walking to the Hall of Warriors, you guys, he kind of walks past you, going back towards the bay as you make your way across the space, and you make your way into the hall. Is there anything different that you would like to do other than your kind of morning ritual?
I will find the name of Hammond on the wall.
Temin, as you make your way, as you're looking, you do see, and it is far back on the list, towards the beginning of the Inquisition days. You do eventually find the individual known as Temin. Hold on, let me see what it is. Temin Sheds, Sheds, or DZ, sorry, Sheds. You see it, you acknowledge it. Go ahead and make me a history check, real quick. Do it with disadvantage.
Easy.
2 natural. Oh, by the way, everybody, you guys weren't there, dude. This man rolled 2 natural 20s on his history check with disadvantage during his thing, which is just
What?
that man.
It's an 8.
An 8. You do see Temin, which I will, just because it's more of a predominant kind of portion of what you kind of saw, but as you're looking for the other name, as you're looking at the list, nothing resonates. It just kind of fleets your vision, fleets from your kind of your mind. However, in regards to, as you read the names and you kind of associate, you try to ground yourself through this kind of morning ritual. No, nothing has fleeted, nothing different. You are still cognitively up to the same standards as you were yesterday. Actually, I would say maybe a little bit more, considering that you reached into the far depths and you grabbed a fragment of something back.
Damn.
It'd probably be about 5'10".
Yeah, depending on how long you actually sit in here.
Alright, I'll proceed to the briefing room and wait.
Sounds good. Tabix, you hear a as you see a large Brother Valdis making his way, as you have posted up in a comfortable seat, kind of grappling with what Dalin had told you over breakfast. As Brother Valdis is at this point is kind of walking into the room.
Hello, Brother Valdis.
Stop. I'll turn to you. Engineer Tabix.
How did you sleep?
Well. And you?
I slept very good myself. Thank you. Are you here for the meeting in an hour and a half?
It's actually it's like in 20 minutes.
I don't want to say that, sorry.
I thought it was taken. I thought we had a while. Okay.
No,
Are you
yeah.
here for the briefing?
We all will be.
I see. I myself am here for the briefing and am waiting. So it's a pleasure for you to join me in my wait.
Proceed into the room and then wait in the corner.
He doesn't sit. You stay. You stand.
I'll stand near the table.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so just for clarification, so you got, so the meeting's at 5:30. It's just 30 minutes before you guys have to go to the deployment.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought he said 6:30, but that makes sense because deployment it's like at 6. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that'd be a rough meeting. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm back on track.
No, you're good. No, you're good, man. It's all good. I know there's a lot of times, a lot of shit. When you add fantasy clocks to your D&D world, things get real weird.
Real.
So. But as you guys all collectively make your way now into the briefing room, probably I would say, maybe a couple minutes early, just so you guys are all here. You guys all now, as a collective, it's probably 5 minutes before. If there's anything Tiberius you'd like to tell your team, or Dalin, or if anyone would like to discuss before the briefing, feel more than free to do so.
I have nothing to say.
In the past, I assume I've had similar visions in the past.
Yes, you have, but not with this team.
Yes, but how have they been, accurate? I've seen what I saw in those visions before,
Yes, they yield truth to them, yes. Sometimes there's weird things that don't exactly line up or shift. Sometimes it's odd. I would say rarely would this be the case, but there are times where you project and it's in the past. or maybe like in the future. It's like the time of it sometimes is weird. Sometimes you just see like I mentioned like kind of nightmares or horrific just it's weird. But there have been times where you do see accurate things, like you see something, you deploy, and then something of that nature does come up. So there is validity to it generally.
All right, I'll bring it up during the brief.
Okay.
As soon as that starts.
Sounds good. Let me go ahead and find music that I want. Okay, so as 5:30 rolls around on the dot, do you guys leave the doors propped open? Or do you guys leave them closed?
I close it behind my freak teammates.
Okay. So as you go ahead and you close the doors and you guys are all kind of sitting in this space, eventually you do kind of hear, especially you, Tiberius, with your passive perception, you kind of hear the heel footfalls of what is familiar to the Master of Reconnaissance and her presence that she has of herself. As you kind of hear them, you do eventually see the doorknob kind of turn downward, and the door does open in, and it steps through. You see the familiar Master of Reconnaissance, the human kind of female Ciceri. You see that she does have, similar to yesterday, you can see her nice, well-kept Inquisition attire. You do see the purplish kind of blue cord over one shoulder. You can see that even at this early in the morning, her facial kind of, or not facial, but her hair and everything, she's done up in a very professional manner. Her hair kind of done up in a bun once again as she makes her way into the space. And as she walks in, she says, good morning, gentlemen. I appreciate you all gathering here beforehand, before the deployment zone, or before your time in the deployment zone, and getting yourself together for the actual execution of the into Shadefall and shifting over. I would just like to say and preface this beginning, I would like to apologize on behalf of the operations department in regards to the lack of depth and detail of the first brief. I was noticing that yesterday, after leaving and kind of going back up into the into my area of work, I was noticing that there was not a lot of the Inquisition. We have standards, obviously, and we try to give the strike teams as much possible valuable information when it comes to mission briefings, because you guys, and she kind of seems like she's kind of leveling with you. You guys risk your lives constantly for the betterment of our organization, for the procurement of these relics and the artifacts and everything. And so I just would like to say that it is a disservice to you that the brief that we held yesterday was so lackluster. I would just like to kind of not necessarily drive an excuse forward, but typically the reconnaissance automatons that we have that go out, they usually come back, which is what gives our operations department the necessary information that we can kind of build these briefs off of. So with that being the case, and with the LZR automaton that I mentioned to you yesterday not returning, it made it a little bit more difficult for the subordinates of my department to actually gather information and get it executed onto, understandable platform where we can then bring it to you all. They did their best, but obviously there is a reason that I am the Master of Reconnaissance, and I should have taken the time to actually look it over and ensure that it was of the utmost caliber. And I did not do that, and so here I am this morning, after spending many hours into the night figuring out, gathering more kind of information that I can now give to you all. So, I personally went through the logs that the LZR automaton had sent over to the kind of transmitting team that receives all of the information that you all know, especially for you, Captain Tiberius, as you guys have send information back to us. We log it and we archive it to ensure that we have record of those things. So as you kind of at this point, you can see that she did bring in with her like a bundle and like a stack of papers and things and whatnot, and so she does set that down. You can see that she does kind of lean underneath the table to activate the kind of illusionary kind of imbued table that kind of projects all these kind of different visuals that can use to assist in your guys' mission briefings. So, and then she turns it on, steps back up, and kind of, if you would all join me on this side, as she kind of gestures to her left and right. Do you all make your way over here?
I'm already standing there.
Okay.
I'd like to make it known. I had another vision just before bedding down for the night, and I I do believe that this is what what befell the fate of the recon drone. I saw the. Did I see like the? Do I know them like the model types in what they sent out? Like, would I know what they sent out specifically? What it looked like?
You only saw an arm. And so there was not a lot that you could use to actually discern what kind of type it was. But generally, just as a point of note for the Inquisition, they don't have like a wide array of automatons. It's usually just reconnaissance automatons, and they are pretty clear cut. I would say, just with your kind of understanding of that, I mean, it would more than likely be that.
Okay. But additionally, I saw a vision of the artifact that you had described. And it was in a cathedral type of room with pillars, as well as a raised like dais on one side of the room with a bowl and the artifact inside of it, with a heavy chunk of rubble coming from the ceiling, crushing the scouting automaton.
Interesting. She kind of looks a little bit kind of like taken aback with you, and then she kind of like instinctually goes to like fumble through some of her notes, like in some of her paperwork. Dallin, this is not unfamiliar to you. That's right. You do have these things are fairly consistent when it comes to you, and she kind of gestures towards your face with the scar. Yes, that's right.
Yes, this has been known to other strike teams. Yes.
Okay, and yes, I do want to say that I have heard of this through the workings of and the rebriefings that I get from certain things. But it is interesting to hear this firsthand. So thank you for bringing this up. Obviously, I cannot do anything to cooperate that, but anything that you all can utilize, as she just looks kind of to you, everybody, especially you, Tiberius. Anything that you guys can utilize to your benefit out there is greatly, obviously, appreciated. So thank you. And I'm sure that you and your captain here can go ahead and discuss anything further when it comes to actual operation. And maybe we can kind of, as I debrief and kind of give more additional details, maybe we can kind of fit some things into the puzzle that you've just given us. So thank you. And she kind of looks over at Tiberius just to see if you have anything to add.
I don't have anything to add at the moment.
Okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and begin this more defined and detailed briefing. So, firstly, from what we've gathered and kind of going back to the logs, it appears that the catacombs entrance is located approximately anywhere between 5 to 15 to potentially 20. I understand it is a wide area, but 5 to 15 or so miles within southeast of almost the dead center portion of the woods itself. And as she speaks, you can see that the table now has almost elevated, and you can see there's an illusionary kind of image that kind of is scattering across this space. This image, you can see that there is like kind of and every time, and you guys would all be familiar with this. Whenever you guys are standing on this portion of the table, it is all the directions is north is kind of directly ahead, and then west, east, south is where you guys are. So it's all cardinally kind of correlated to where you guys looking. Kind of further up is north. Left is west, right is east, south, kind of towards where you guys are standing is south. And as you can see these kind of tall mountains almost kind of protruding up onto the northern side of this, kind of some mountains and almost hills on the southern portion that almost kind of encapsulate this central kind of heavily wooded kind of visage that you guys can see. And you can kind of see as she kind of almost waves her finger in the area, you can also see this kind of jagged cut back kind of river as it flows through almost I would say offset a little bit to the west, to the left a little bit, but it almost cuts through these woods almost directly in half a little bit. And you can see that she kind of gestures a little bit and kind of moves her finger into this relatively kind of vague area, kind of southeast of the river, kind of almost central of this image. A river, as I kind of mentioned yesterday, that cuts through the middle portion of the woods. And so that being the case, and she looks at you, Tabix, obviously things happen, but I heavily emphasize that you would want to be landing on the east bank. You do not want to be landing on the west, or else you'll have to traverse the river itself. And we did looking back at the logs, we did get some understanding that there is something in the area that is manipulating the water itself, and it is not of normal liquid. It is no longer a watery substance. It is something manipulated and transformed. So, yes, and so something else that was reported back. And you can kind of see at this point, kind of the trees, there's different heights. Like there's a pretty consistent kind of basis of where the trees kind of all stand. But then you do see kind of like a couple different tall protrusions that jet higher above than the rest of everything else. And she says, apparently due to LZR's reports, there were these massive trees that were scattered throughout the woods. Much taller than the rest of anything that that the automaton had seen. And they had said that and reported that there was apparently 3 of these massive trees identified kind of around where the collapsed kind of structure ruins of where the entrance to the catacombs itself was. So what I would suggest, still looking at you, Tabix, would suggest that on your entry, go ahead and see if you cannot perceive this maybe triangulation point of these 3 tall trees. And if you cannot kind of land amongst that area or on the exterior of that space, then that might be beneficial to you and your crew. And then when it actually pertains to LZR's entry into the catacombs, it appears that they had reported that they descended down the stairwell after navigating some sort of structure, and when doing so, they reported that they were going to be performing normal reconnaissance protocol, which I'm sure you all are not aware, are not familiar with. Which basically what that means is that they will be making their way left, the most immediate left general direction, and kind of surveying the area as they go. So if there is any sort of kind of halls or doors or anything as you guys make your way into the catacombs, and you can make your way in the general direction of left. I know it seems kind of rudimentary, but at least gives the automaton something. Just make your way there. That's at least a starting point. We lost, obviously, contact. Dahlin, you have obviously informed of some sort of fate that this automaton might have, succumbed to. So we're hoping that maybe that might at least give you a starting point. To kind of emphasize as well the yesterday, the retrieval of the samples that you have are able to, or the retrieval of the samples that these trees are excreting, this ooze-like substance, this green kind of liquid or material or whatever it is. If you can bring it back, that obviously will be highly beneficial for our cause, as well as if you are capable to bring back the LZR automaton back into our grasp, and that we might repair it, as well as maybe gain any additional information. The automatons are very crucial. They have a lot of arcane equipment that allows them that allows us to kind of retrieve out of it and give us visuals, more detailed kind of geographical understanding of the area that they operate in. So that would be very beneficial. However, I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not risk your lives for a fucking robot. Do not. Do not. Leave it if it comes down to it.
We'll see.
We will not see.
But yes.
I'm do not risk your lives. Do not risk your lives. That is an order from myself. That is order from operations head. It is not worth it. We'd rather have one of you than 10 of them. So, and then obviously compensation will be provided between coins, the common currency and credits for the Inquisition as well. So anything, so the samples and the return of the automaton we will reward you for both of those things. Also, in addition to everything, this is kind of one of the frustrating things, like I had mentioned, that the automatons, they give us so much more information when they actually return to us. So we have no idea on whether this green kind of aura of the woods, or this ooze or whatever it is that these trees are emitting, is caustic or poisonous in nature. We have no idea. We are unsure. But it is always better to be safe than sorry. So we will be actually, it is already within your medical bundle. I have added it to your locker, Tiberius. You will be getting some additional equipment to help combat anything that might be airborne or that you might succumb to as well. However, I will say, as she looks over to you, Tabix, having a cleric on your side will, I think, be very beneficial when it comes to being able to remedy any of these issues as well. So, another reason to keep him close, another reason to keep him alive. Now, I hope that as a collective, as she kind of like, she says this as she looks over at her notes and kind of, she's been gesturing to her notes and everything and kind of showing you vision. She's been gesturing and making connecting points to everything. Now, I hope that this is a little bit more satisfactory of a brief that you guys can either ask questions about or at least can go into this area of some understanding. Do you have any questions, anything at all, before you make your way to your deployment zone lockers and get settled and ready to jump?
There is no known intel on hostiles?
No. Sadly, no. I went back through and I did scour the logs. There does not appear to be anything that immediately threatened the automaton. Generally, that if something is threatening in the area, it will report back. It just articulates its surroundings, and it did not seem to be threatened by anything, at least immediately. Now, obviously, having something that is non-sentient and more of metallic in construction purely, it makes it difficult to actually, understand the surroundings and what might actually be a threat. But we did not get anything to report. But these trees themselves, the festering woods is what we're calling this area, is strange. Something about it is strange, and so I would not trust just the mere logs of an automaton. I'd be ready always. But that's not something I necessarily have to tell you all. Anything else?
Okay. No, I gotta be honest, I would have appreciated this information sooner, but I appreciate you giving it to us now, so thank you.
Yes, Tiberius, that is why I've rectified the wrong of yesterday. Right now.
Great.
Which, if there is nothing else that you require of me, I would, Tiberius, if you would mind staying back. I do not need any of you further, unless you have any further questions. But Tiberius, if you would mind sticking back and having a chat with me.
Whatever you say.
As she kind of nods to you, and she gestures kind of openly to the rest, kind of.
I'll nod and proceed out.
I'll start to get out as well.
Yeah, and I'll get up.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, be safe, be strong, and I hope to see you all back here as you guys all exit. And if you'd mind closing the door, please, as you, whichever.
I'll close it on the way out.
Okay. As you go. Oh, dude, the music just went hype mode. Hold on. Go back. So, as you all kind of click the door behind you all, I would say at this point it's only been probably about 15-20 minutes. What are you three doing?
In 15, 20 minutes, so we would report to the drop pod in 10.
Yeah, you literally have just you literally just have 15 or so minutes left. 10 minutes.
Go to my locker and get dressed.
Let's go get our gear on.
Okay. As you guys are familiar, as you exit the briefing room, immediately to your left of those doors, you can see that there is a connecting hallway that leads you straight to the deployment zone. Ready, kind of immediately outside that hallway to the right, you can see your lockers all lined up. So as you guys all kind of collectively start to walk down there, you guys are walking through the hall. The loud kind of echoey steps of Brother Valdus kind of reverberating through the metallic hallway. As you guys kind of step into the deployment zone, you can see that there is a hustle and bustle. People, it is very crowded in here, very different from yesterday. Tabix, as you kind of initially saw this space and checked out your lockers, you all there's a couple dozen people running around within the deployment zone, and you can even, as you kind of look back deeper into this space where you see the drop pod maintenance and repair section, you can see there's just even an equal amount of people rushing around back there as well. As you guys cut right, you make your way to the lockers to start to mount up. I will say, as I take old Tiberius into the room of secrets, I will ask that you guys kind of get an idea as to what your items and your equipment looks like, as we will run through them to kind of give everybody an understanding as to what your battle attire is. But until then, if you, Tiberius, would please follow me into the secrets chat.
All right.
Hello, my friends. Let me go ahead, and I do have to turn everything back on. If you would go ahead and do the same thing that you did earlier, please, to get your black screen. Yeah.
Is it good?
It is good. Yes, thank you. So, as everybody else has kind of left, she waits a moment as the door closes and clicks shut. she waits probably another 20, 30 seconds. Just kind of, it's like this awkward kind of silence in there with you both. Within that kind of allotted silence, do you want to say anything?
I'm just like, well, what do you need?
She takes a deep, she sighs heavily and just kind of looks down, kind of at her paperwork. She kind of just like awkwardly kind of shifts some paperwork, kind of just as like a fidgeting kind of movement. Are you sitting or are you standing still?
I'm sitting.
You're sitting? Okay. So she at this point kind of doesn't sit directly next to you, but she does kind of sit a seat with a gap in between both of you and sits down. She crosses her legs, and she just kind of not looking at you and just says, Tiberius, are you alright?
What do you mean?
It's just I've noticed that you are more defensive in your speech, and that you've just have been off lately.
Well, I gotta be honest with you. I was explaining to my team about our last mission. I didn't go into much detail, but you know, I could tell with that briefing you weren't telling me you weren't telling us everything, and when we left, and yet it was right. So how can I operate and make sure my people stay safe when my team does when I can't even get the full spiel from you?
No, and that's fair. And I find that is something that I wanted to obviously. I spent many hours yesterday after the briefing up into the wee hours of this morning ensuring that I was able to get all the details from the logs and ensure that I came here this morning to give you all an appropriate brief. And so I hope that in some capacity that rectified that miscalculation. And like I said, it is on me ultimately, on me not cracking down on these subordinates that put together the mission brief. And that's on me. And she, at this point, she says that, she looks you like that in the eyes, like, that's on me. And I hope
I appreciate that. I highly do. So I want to just be able to function properly so that we can, everything is good and no one has to get hurt. We can keep everyone alive.
Yes. And you say function properly. And I want to, and she's like, kind of like looks off to the side, but then kind of just makes eye contact with you occasionally. You say function properly, and the main reason why I'm sitting here, trying to level with you, is I want to ensure that you are, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful means. I just want to make sure that you are okay to operate, if that makes sense, in a full mission capacity, because the experiences that, especially for you and Brother Valdis, the experiences that you had recently, even if it might have been only a month or so ago, are very traumatic. They're excruciatingly painful. And I want to ensure that you are at least in the right mind going into this and that you are okay. Because there's been a lot of loss in the organization recently. Jade Fury got back, not even some 4 or 5 hours ago. And no losses, thankfully, but they had suffered some injuries that could have gone poorly if they had not, executed appropriately on exfil. And so I just want to make sure that we are expressing, especially from us in operations, how important it is to us, the strike teams are. You all are important. Our captains are important just as much as our individual members are. And I just want to ensure that your cognitive, mental state is not so overwhelmed by all the things that you've experienced, and with this now appointment of captaincy, that you are not feeling overwhelmed, that you not be able to operate appropriately. And that's... And
I believe I can operate as appropriate as possible, man.
Okay. Yes. And I believe that as well. But I do want to at least ask. And I do want to at least, if needs be, offer you the opportunity to maybe seek additional help. I know that all you strike team members do not necessarily like therapy or going, but I find that it does help to talk about your problems to somebody other than your peers, if that is any consolation. And there are other ways that we can get you any sorts of assistance as well.
Ma'am, I'm completely okay. You have to trust me, or I can't do my job.
Okay. I trust you, Tiberius. I do. I think that you are fit for this team. I do think that you are fit for captaincy. I just want to kind of have a second of intermission to ensure that you are okay and that you will perform in your normal excellence manner. So...
Okay. I will. I promise you.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then and then also just disseminate to your members as well. That's.
Do you trust me truly, ma'am? Or am I about to go in there and come back and face more consequences if something goes wrong?
I trust you. Make an insight check.
Shoot. 1 second. Oh shoot. What's my insight? +4. I got a 23.
Damn. Okay, yeah. She says there's a pause and she says, "I do." And you can immediately read into that. She does. I would say the vibe that you get is 80% trust in your abilities you have shown over the years. That is very evident. However, there's still a 20% kind of twinge of not doubt in you, but doubt in the fact of the humanity of you. And if that makes sense, it's like what you've experienced, and the things you've gone through over the years can push anyone to the breaking point. She trusts your ability. She knows you're a veteran. She knows that you can handle the position you're in, but she almost doesn't necessarily trust the humanity of you. And it's very underlying. It just if that makes sense. But as a majority of the read of her face, she trusts that you will accomplish the mission and you will get it done well.
All right. Well.
She nods and
I'll
says,
take it then.
She nods and says, "Okay, but we appreciate all of you." In operations, to the armory, to everybody. No one else in this organization can do what the strike teams do on a regular basis. So thank you, and tell your members that we thank them as well.
I'll let them know. I will communicate that to them.
Okay. Well, if you don't have any other questions of me or anything, then best of luck out there, and make sure. Obviously, I mean, this goes without saying, constant communication is always better.
I promise you. I'll keep you informed. I appreciate your trust. I truly do.
Okay. She kind of stands up, kind of adjusts her uniform, kind of to make sure that there's no wrinkles or anything from sitting. She grabs her paperwork and just kind of nods at you. Good luck. Kind of makes her way out of the room. And as she makes her way out of the room, she does leave the door open. Is there anything that you're thinking about while you sit here, or are you just gonna head straight to the deployment zone?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of like, well, you know what? It feels good to have some trust from her, frankly, and that it gives me reassurance that this might not be as bad a situation as I thought it was initially. That like these people didn't have my back, you know?
Yeah. For sure. No, yeah, I feel like there definitely is a wash of relief. You left yesterday kind of feeling uneasy, almost like was it a suicide mission? Was there details they were hiding? But now you can feel that there is transparency and there is like almost that trust now built and that leveling kind of playing field. So for sure. All right, man. All right, let's go ahead and jump back into the general chat, my guy.
All right.
Alrighty. Alrighty. Turn on this. All right. So let's jump back into it, everybody. So we'll go ahead and kind of, as you guys, we good? Everyone here? Everyone there? Everyone there? All right. Let me go ahead and pull this back up. All right, my friends. As the three of you kind of off ahead, as you entered into the deployment zone, you saw this hustle and bustle. You guys make your way over to your lockers, input your codes, and you now have access to the armaments that you all requested and have been utilizing for some time. All except Tabix, green guy. This is new, but you'll break them in. No worries. So let me go ahead and change over the music real quick. And then we can jump into this. What is this? It's kind of spoopy. Hold on. Okay. I like this. Okay. So. All right. So we'll go ahead and just start, obviously, with Captain Tiberius still being held up momentarily behind. We will go ahead and start this with next in line, veteran Brother Valdis, unless he is predisposed. Do you want me to go with somebody else? Hi, Ashley.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay, you're good. Dallin, if you want to go ahead and as you make your way, as you punch in your code, you go ahead and open up and you kind of draw back the double kind of locker kind of cage door as you kind of set it off to the left and the right, and you make your way into this metallic space. Go ahead and describe your armor set and your equipment, if you don't mind.
So, doesn't take up much of the space inside the locker. There's a stand with like basically the silhouette of a person or of like a suit of armor, but like just the front half of it is just split open, where it's like the Vitruvian Man or whatever, where it's like that, but the front half is split open, so I could just easily fit into it. And so I like turn around and go backwards into it, and it encloses around my body, and then is locked up for a second, but then it like meshes with, it like connects with my mind and the magic within me, and it frees up and perfectly follows my movements. But the exterior of it is like just patterned hexagons all the way across, and with like just a gradient that just goes like slowly ebbs across of light across the whole color spectrum, and it just kind of does that randomly in random spots across the body of it as well. And then the boots are like thicker boots. They have almost like what looks to be like hooks on the bottom that can be activated, and as well as like a rubber sole that almost like partially melts but doesn't fully, and it allows me to traverse basically wherever I need to, as well as like big servos in the sides of them. The boots are really bulky, while the rest of the suit is pretty form-fitting.
Hell yeah.
As well as to the side of it, there's a very large tower shield that goes about up to my neck, and so it's about like 6.5 feet tall.
Damn, that's a fat ass shield.
And next to it is a one-handed sword, although large for a human, that has a massive hilt that looks like almost a power pack. On one side of it, and it's a single-sided blade. And I step out with my armor, I pick up the shield, pick up the sword, and I leave the locker room.
Okay, sounds good. I like the Iron Man kind of vibe of it, like encasing around you and then kind of stitching itself together. Hell yeah, sounds good. Brother Valdis, are you good now to describe your?
Yeah. So I'll walk up, into the room, I'll approach the locker, open it, obviously, and immediately I'll raise my left gauntlet, I'll press a button on it, and out comes a wrist-mounted gun, and I will plug the power feed from the gauntlet into the back of the armor.
Okay.
And then press the button again, and it closes it. Like the feed will like plug in like the bottom of like the forearm.
Okay.
So like not into the gun itself.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
can still go back down into it. And then.
So it's like almost like an additional piece of the gauntlet, or it came out of the gauntlet and you had to kind of set it up. Like, did you slide on another exterior layer of the gauntlet you already had?
No, it's part of the gauntlet.
Okay, gotcha.
And then I'll use my right hand. I'll reach out. I'll pick up a like a power pack module, like a deflector module that I'll plug into my belt. And then in the back of the locker, there will be the great power hammer.
Just real quick, sorry, 1 second. So you did actually, within your locker, I meant to say this, you do have surge crystals, which is the ammunition for your gun, for your Ripper machine arcane missile thingy.
Yeah, I figured like that would be part of the like the ammo feed.
Yeah, so you you have like the housing, like the thing to like power it and to assist it. However, you do also still need to load the ammunition that is in the back kind of plating of it that you have to kind of like the ammunition kind of housing of it as well. You can just go ahead.
That'd be like a secondary compartment.
Yeah, because you have the powering of it, and you also need the ammunition of it. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it takes 6 of the surge crystals for ammo. So if right before you head back to the hammer, you can just go ahead and kind of you have like a little almost like protective metal casing. That's like kind of rectangular, has like a kind of fold up kind of top to it, and it has the 18 surge crystals. So you know how to like kind of take off the back kind of ammunition housing. You can slide in all the crystals that it takes for the magazine, reset it, and then you can just affix that case kind of to like your belt somewhere or whatever you'd like.
Yeah.
And then you walk back to the hammer.
So I'll take a few steps forward to the hammer. I'll pull it off the wall. I would say it's probably like 6 feet long. Like the handle. You got like the head. I don't know, probably weighs like 100 pounds.
Oh my God.
And so I'll pull it off the wall, and then like the middle of the handle.
Yeah, 100 pounds.
You like so like you kind of rotate it, and then you move the handle out, and then it'll basically power up for like the energy. Like the energy will course through the handle and then like power like the head of the hammer.
Sounds good. As it kind of almost throoms with the energy.
Remember, he said 100 pounds.
Yeah, I will remember that. That
100-pound hammer.
100-pound scimitar.
100 pounds. We got the 20-pound scimitar, 100-pound hammer, baby. Sounds good. And as you kind of activate it, and you now go ahead and kind of turning back towards the entrance of the locker. You having to kind of almost kneel a little bit, or not kneel, but kind of like duck your head underneath to exit and enter and exit the locker itself as you step back out.
When I exit, though, I will deactivate the handle, and then I'll just kind of heft like the axe on like my shoulder or whatever.
Okay, sounds good. The hammer kind of sitting, kind of propped up. Tabix.
I'll say it's hammer time.
Okay, nice signature line. Tabix.
I don't say that.
Okay.
Yes.
Unless...
So, in my locker, open it up. First thing that's going to stand out is my armor, and there I have my large, very heavy suit. Most notable feature is that in the back there is a mounted arm kind of offset to the left of the body, which retracts in, I believe, slightly. It's kind of folded in.
Yeah, it's kind of flush up against it, kind of in the dormant kind of stasis.
Yeah, upon use, though, it obviously comes much further out to extend to another arm that can look to kind of stabilize and such. Across my armor as well, you'll see various repair tools kind of built into the armor as the engineer that will be very handy for the team.
I actually do. I have a video of your thing, Corey.
Oh, do you?
What?
Handy. Hey, there I am.
That's wait, hold on.
Yo.
Bro, this is literally me. I'll repair your tools.
Dude, holy shit. That's kind of wicked, though.
That's sick. All right.
That's
Exhibit A.
That's awesome.
Along in my locker, I'll also find a flail, fairly large in size as well. Along the flail, I believe, is some slits that when we use it, we'll see what happens. But it'll emits kind of not an aura, but a nice smokish, holy divine looking stuff.
Sensor.
Out of theirs. Yeah.
Vibes.
Yeah.
It also does have spikes kind of all enveloped around the flail head of the actual ball kind of portion of it.
See, I believe
and
that's
then,
the extent.
Yeah, you have your
right.
flail. You do also have your radiant purge grenades that I did send you as well. Which they are these kind of these kind of like think of like a modern day grenade, kind of short and fat, kind of circular, or kind of circular in nature, and you can see towards the top it kind of has this like kind of cap to it a little bit, and you can see recessed into this top kind of cap housing. You can see a pin of some sort that you would need to release, which was also given to you and described in your instructions that you on how to use all these things.
Yes.
So
of course.
You being new. However, during your attunement process, and I will say this, you guys, it is a little bit of all this, not so much because you're constantly in your armor, but I will say the attunement process is required for all your guys' armor sets. So Dallin, you kind of are over the course of some time getting attuned to it, like inadvertently. And I say this because for you, Tabix, if you want to, you can go ahead and negate some of your physical attributes to increase your intelligence as of right now, as you're becoming attuned to this. There is a helmet portion, kind of almost like it's part of the armor, and the helmet portion has some metallic a flap almost that continues and runs and connects the like back portion of the armor to the helmet portion. And when you put it on, you can almost feel this like draw that you can willingly kind of tap into, and you would know through the instructions and kind of understanding, if you get rid of one of your strength or dex, you can then put it into your intelligence to enhance your intellect and your capabilities as the engineer.
Oh, I'm doing that.
I would just emphasize not to dump too much of your strength, because that is your attacking for your flail. That is your attacking attribute for your flail. This is also, you also learn this is temporary as well. Like if you were to take off the armor, you're not going to just be sucked off dry. It's tapped out.
For now, I think I may hold back.
You're not going to get stuck.
I will say it's part of the attunement process.
Oh, okay.
So you do need to choose it now because it's part of the wear.
I'm gonna take some strength and give it to intelligence. Okay.
I mean, if you also want to, I'll go through all of Tiberius' stuff if you want to wait and kind of think of how you want to allocate to. No rush. Okay. This is all happening kind of in a process. You also find your 3 diamonds worth 300 gold as well.
Rich.
You're rich, my guy. Okay, so as all 3 of you are kind of getting geared up and rallying, I would say probably no more than like 5 or so minutes later, Tiberius, you make your way to your locker, and you open it up, and you can step in if you want to go ahead and describe the equipment that you have.
I'll only pull it up real quick. I am ripping some big drip. I got the Fate of the Striker Dagger. So this is a dagger. It looks slim, but oh no, I'm trolling. Look, I have recon armor. I have my recon armor, and it's a light armor, so I look lightly armored. But you know, it's like my armor looks. It's not heavy. Like I'm one of the more lighterly equipped folk.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, my breastplate looks thin, but obviously, you know, it's thicker than it seems. And it looks very light, looks very slim, very fitted. But you know, it looks but the thing I think the most important part is it looks worn down. You know, you can definitely see that it's been through a few different drops and raids, and it definitely shows scarring, and there's chips and marks and scratches and, you know, scuffs all over the armor. So it definitely looks old. Some of the oldest armor. You know, it comes with those things like, so you see my magnification lens on the side where it's tucked away in the helmet, and I can use this. You know, I have the life force detector built into one of my gauntlets that you can kind of see, you know, beeping off and, you know, glowing. And then I have, you know, then I pull out of my locker, pull out my my handheld, you know, the breakneck. It's my blast gun. This is a Graveblade Inquisition. You know, it's a arcane engineering. It has the fitted stock, you know, hand grip, iron sights, you know, 3-inch diameter metallic barrel. That's, you know, that you can fold. That was once you know, release folds to break in action, you know, for fashion for loading. And overall, it's a slim looking, you know, kind of clean, like not very, you know.
It's a long barrel.
Thick gun.
It's the long barrel. Bro. It's a long barrel, bro. Stay strapped.
Long barrel. But again, it also has, like with my armor, it's worn down. Has all the, you know, it definitely looks like it's been through a few. You can definitely see this thing has been discharged quite a few many times before.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then I also have my dagger, obviously, like I was saying, the Inquisition dagger. This is a slim dagger. give him a good old South London handshake with this one. And yeah, that's my gear.
Hell yeah.
I click it all in. I put my belt up. I look at my team.
Hold on,
And
hold on, real quick. I have to get through some things. And I'll send you guys all this stuff. But as you're mounting up and grabbing all your things, you do. I will send this to you guys individually, but you do have 8 surge crystals, which you would know would be the ammunition for your breakneck handheld blast gun. You can see, and this is the same for you, Todd. Yours are a little bit different colored, or sorry, Valdis. Yours are a little different colored. Yours are kind of like purplish. They are like these. They're titled surge crystals, but they are more of like these kind of like cylindrical, kind of almost like vial tube like things. But you can see within them, you can see this like kind of crystalline, kind of magical kind of energy pulsing through them as well. Within this actual kind of vial of some sort. So you have 8 of those that are concentrated in form that you can use for your blast gun, and you also have 4 of those crystals that you can use for the blast version of your gun. Also, from as requested in yesterday's brief, you do see these kind of. Let me actually go ahead and pull. Oh no, it's right here. You do see these like cylindrical, kind of large metal devices that are pulses with kind of arcane runes kind of all around it. You see that on both ends of the cylindrical kind of surface of it, you can twist these like caps, and you are familiar with these. You can twist these caps, and they kind of are offset from the body some, but you would twist them, and then you would push them together, and then it would activate the grenade. You would know these grenades as the firebomb grenades. So that is, as requested, some sort of inflammatory, fire kind of flamethrower-esque kind of tool that you guys can use out there.
Nice.
And then just you kind of just instinctually you see the medical bundle, and you just go through it to ensure you know exactly what you all have. The medical bundle, it does contain. 1 second. What the hell kind of. You do see within the medical bundle, you see there are just like various bandages. You can see there's a splint of some sort. You see that there are the pain relief antibiotic kind of serums that they give you. This is all kind of standard practice for the medical bundle. You do see the glass, like kind of thick glass containers for the samples you were requested to get from the trees. And then additionally, you do see these kind of 2 mask kind of like metallic kind of like or like leather and kind of metallic mask kind of pieces of equipment. And they kind of almost have these like large kind of like cylindrical pieces off to the sides, kind of off to the left and right offset of them. And you being within the group, within the organization for a hot minute, would know these are like the arcane rebreathers that are utilized in high toxicity and kind of high, what's the word? Compromised environments for when it comes to air and things of that nature. You do have 2 of these. And then amidst all of the bundle too, you find another like kind of potion case that you would know that has 3 potions of healing, 2 potions of greater healing, and then 2 potions of poison removal, all within this case as well. And actually, I will bump that up to 4 potions of healing only because it's like a little kind of metallic protective case, and it has them all kind of slotted in by 2 as it kind of shoots through and kind of has them all. But I will send that all to you. No need to memorize that as you look through, but you are fully stocked and equipped through all of that. And I will say, over the next, I would say probably 30-ish, 45 minutes, you guys gathering all of your gear, putting it on. Obviously, it takes you guys a little minute to put all your actual armor on and gather all your things. But I would say about 45 minutes or so goes by, and you guys are all stepping out of your lockers, ready to rock as a collective.
I forgot to describe my shield.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go ahead, man.
So yeah, it's tower shield. It's about 6.5 feet tall, but in the center of the front end of it, there's like a bit of a raised dome with a slit in the center of the dome, and then on the 4 corners of it, there's like golden studs. 4 corners of the shield, there's golden studs, as well as the similar like hexagon material peppering the front of it.
Hell yeah!
Or making up that lattice on the front.
That was a. What weapon do you have? I missed that.
It's like a longsword.
A blade. Okay.
Yeah. I will say though, as you finish up that, you guys gather all your stuff. You guys are all stepping out of your lockers. We will go ahead and take a break real quick, so we can all take 5 here. What?
I too would like to add something.
Oh, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say that my armor does look a little bit visibly different. I would say prior to mission drop, it is like, I guess, overcharged. So there would be like an arcane like overshield to it.
Yeah, and I will say with the Indomitus armor, like you're not walking around necessarily. It's not the most comfortable thing to walk around with all of your combat plating for the Indomitus armor. So I would assume there's also additional kind of pieces of armor and plating that you kind of affix for combat itself. Like you obviously, you're like you obviously have a life support kind of system that you are like keeps you running. And you have the armor that goes with that to kind of to keep you going on a day-to-day, but then you have your combat kind of Indomitus full metal battle rattle ready to go. So
I would say there's almost like a kind of like an exoskeleton too of like the arms.
Yeah,
that would be attached. That would help with like swinging a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. And you just have all sorts of different things, arcane imbued as well, that assist you with all those kinds of all those things as well. For sure.
After that, I'm about 12 feet tall.
Holy shit! You step into some platforms, bro. You just like,
bro, I got stilts, too.
Bro. I will say I will have to cap you off a little bit there because the drop.
I'm joking.
Okay, I was gonna say the drop on is not gonna.
We should have done that. Why didn't we just ask for like stilts to get across the river?
But we will go ahead at this moment as you all kind of in your different times stepping out of your lockers, fully geared, ready to drop. We will go ahead and take a quick break here, so that way we can all go to the bathroom, grab anything we might need, and we will go ahead and continue on once we get back. So we will see you back here in like 10 to 15. Boom. Yes, sir.
See ya, folks.
Going to 5 guys.
Boop, boop, boo, doo, 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 doo.
All right.
Whipping out my yacht.
Wait, whoa. Welcome back, everybody. Nah, you're good, man. I just wanted to make sure the end of that sentence wasn't going to be something completely deranged.
I've said it like 40 times.
Oh, okay.
Corey, you say it this
He's
time.
already deranged.
Hell yeah.
Corey.
This man gets it.
I know you
I'm not allowed to say it.
I know you want to say it. Say it.
No.
Do
It's bad.
Do it.
It's good. I'm not allowed to, though.
Do it. Do it.
Do it. Whip it out.
Corey, you'll feel more free if you say it. I know you will. You know you will too.
What the fuck
I
is
will.
happening? Wait. There we go. All right. Hey, so real quick, we're going to go and highlight real fast. As we are back and we are jumping right back in. First off, Tabix, you come out of the locker. I would say, actually, everyone as a collective, I would say, is kind of out of the lockers now at this point. Is there anything else we discuss amongst each other before heading in? I did send your equipment there, Tiberius, in the medical bag, if you'd like to go through that and hand it to anybody, or if you want to do that maybe on drop or after drop. Up to you.
Oh yeah, who's our medic? Corey?
Corey. Tabix is the engineer. When it comes to actual medic, I would say there isn't necessarily a designation, unless that's something that you'd want to make. However,
Tabix.
He is a cleric, so
I call over the Tabix.
Are you muted?
Oh, there we go. I look at you.
Tabix, come here.
I walk to you.
Knowing your powers and capabilities from your file, take the medic bag.
Just take it?
Well, keep it. And if we need anything,
Captain.
I will call you. We'll call upon you.
I can do that, and I'll work the medic bag into my body somehow to make it fit.
Yeah, it's like a.
I don't know.
Well, so it's like a satchel of some sort. So I mean, like, or I would say, it'd be interesting. You can make it fit. For the purposes of this, you make it fit. Yeah,
just put it perfectly in my hole and call it good.
Yeah, nice. Just put it in your hole. Amazing. So as you are now designated as the apparently the medic of this group as well.
Designated medic.
Designated everything. This man's.
I am the DM.
What can't this guy do?
This man's. It says the driver. He's the technician. He's the engineer. He's the medic. He's the team's morale. He's the newest member of the team as well. What can't he do? What can't he do?
Bro, I need some teammates.
He said, I need to disseminate some of these tasks. But no, as Tiberius hands you over this bag, and afterwards, as you kind of now have this responsibility, you do see or you do hear a name being called from kind of deeper within the deployment zone floor, kind of closer to where the shift plate is, kind of in the central of this space. You can see that the platform, or the kind of recessed, kind of multi-layered kind of portion that goes into the floor, is actually kind of elevated up to a degree, and it is now sits flush with the floor. And as you kind of hear your name, Tabix Squall, as you see someone kind of walking over, as you see this kind of a human male, you see that he's kind of sporting kind of a thick mustache, kind of clean shaven rest of his face. You can see as he walks over, kind of some short, kind of kept hair, kind of slicked over to one side. You're Tabix, correct?
Yes, that is me.
Great. Okay, so I was tasked to kind of give you an introductory kind of lesson to the drop pod, kind of before you guys jump. I know, obviously, not trying to insult your intelligence or anything. I know that obviously you went through the schooling and you should have plenty of knowledge, but I was kind of directed to at least give you some understanding of the real world.
I scoff while he's explaining this. I just scoff. I'm just like, huh.
Okay. He kind of like looks over to you, kind of. But yeah, and just give us a moment as he kind of gestures up, and you can actually see now at this point, you can see two individuals to the left and right. Make a perception check for me real quick there, Tabix.
18.
18, nice. So as you're looking up and he kind of gestures and you can kind of like look towards the ceiling. The ceilings are tall, but there is a lot of light being cast in by the kind of arcane kind of light fixtures that are up in the kind of bowels of the ceiling of this bunker. You can see that there's this kind of metallic track of some sort that kind of runs from right above the shift plate, kind of leading and going all the way into the drop pod maintenance and repair zone. As you can kind of follow it on the ceiling and goes back, and you can see now at this point, kind of almost halfway out of the repair shop, you can see this kind of long metallic arm clamping onto the top of this kind of hexagonal piece of equipment. This large piece of equipment, this kind of hexagonal in construction. And what you can determine and discern from this is probably that is the drop pod, right? You can see it's kind of hard to see from right here, but you can see this the kind of rough shape, and you can see that on the top of it, kind of you can see there's almost like this large handle of some sort that this arm, similar to kind of the arm that you have on the back of your armor, kind of carrying it and moving it across the space. And you can see to the left and right on the floor, you can kind of see these two individuals you can see kind of holding up these little like glowing kind of sticks of some sort as they're kind of guiding it, ensuring that that nothing is having any issues and that the track is good to go. It's about halfway to the plate as you can see this, and then the individual kind of standing there is like, if you want to go ahead and follow me, as he kind of guides you and walks you over to the actual kind of raised up portion of where the shift plate usually is recessed, as it kind of lays flush. You're kind of stepping probably 4 or 5 feet off of the actual perimeter of it, just so that not to be in anyone's way. But you just hear, and the space in here is very loud. You can hear the the winding of whatever it is that's carrying this pod. You can hear like people calling out. You can hear it's just a meshing of noise and of just all sorts of stuff filling this kind of space. I will say this, Tiberius, you would definitely notice this as you're kind of looking around, especially with your passive perception. You do see kind of up towards the right hand side of this chamber. You can see in the bunker kind of floor plan. You can see off to the right hand side of this chamber, kind of on the right wall. You can see there are 2 sets of stairs, one kind of closest to you, and then opposite side of the room, kind of on the same wall, as they both lead up to a central balcony that stands probably about 20 or 25 or so feet up off the ground. And you can see some individuals standing up there kind of watching over the operations, Tiberius. You can kind of see all of that as they just stand of looking down from the balcony. And this is not uncommon necessarily. You probably just know that it's some operation heads or higher ups or whatever. But eventually, as you're kind of sitting there, eventually the claw kind of on its track, kind of, and eventually you hear the loud kind of as it kind of sits, and you can see the drop pod kind of sways and then eventually with the two individuals kind of make sure everything's good as it kind of comes to a stop, and then they start to direct that it should be lowered. And you can kind of see off kind of deeper into the just bowels, the deeper portions of this warehouse kind of section of the bunker. Like you can see like people at different little like kiosks and stands and things and people. There's just so much going on. It's kind of just all blurs together. But they're kind of directing to somebody that it starts to lower as it comes down, and you almost take a couple instinctual steps back just to not make sure you're not in the way as it eventually touches down as the arm kind of comes to rest, and then it kind of releases it, and then it kind of goes back up into it, and then once again you can hear the as it starts to make its way back in. But as you're looking at this, so yeah, it's hexagonal in construction. You can see it kind of tapers off to a top point, so it kind of is hexagonal kind of towards the base and middle portion, but then as it kind of elevates and gets to the ceiling of it, it kind of all funnels together and comes to like a distinct, almost like spear-like head. You can see at each, and this is all of you guys can see as well, but you can see that the each portion of the hexagon, as it connects to another wall, you can see that there are like these jetted out large pieces of metal that almost kind of look like blades that kind of jet out from this, and then they follow the the natural forming of the rest of the structures. They come up in the hexagonal thing, and then they cut back up and go to the kind of spear-like point. In multiple different portions, on each kind of segmented wall of this pod, you can see that there are just multitudes of different gadgets and pieces. This is not necessarily completely unfamiliar to you because of the schooling that you've done and whatnot. You kind of had some understanding of this already. You know that a lot, like there's like some like protrusions and some jetting out kind of rough pieces that you know hold like arcane kind of thrusters of some sort that you can manipulate and shift the trajectory of the pod on each face of it. And you just kind of all the technical things kind of come back to you as you're looking at it now. This one is much more grandiose in scale because obviously at the academy they're not going to have necessarily everything to scale. So this one is a lot more intricate. You can see a lot more different things. Like you can see kind of like little light fixtures on the exterior of it. Just very, very advanced. It's kind of almost a little bit like of a oh shit, okay, real deal kind of thing. As it places, you can see there is a single kind of door facing you, kind of offset or on one of the faces of the hexagonal kind of shape. You can see one door, and as it sits, you can see that there is kind of like a circular glass window, and there's this large kind of metallic handle kind of welded, kind of affixed to the front of this piece of the pod itself. So and as it kind of sets down, and one other thing as well, you can see kind of broken up through a lot of the various jetting out pieces of metal and everything, because it's a very just all over the place piece of equipment. You can see that there is some sort of like kind of bird-like kind of design painted onto it. If you want to go ahead and make me an insight check.
Me?
No, this is
Corey.
T-Bix.
Oh.
22.
22. Damn, yeah. You can see, and before it's even said to you, you can see and like kind of discern. And even though it's kind of broken up by the various kind of different plates and protrusions, you can see that it resembles some sort of fiery bird of some sort. Immediately, your mind kind of goes to like a phoenix of something, a phoenix bird of some sort of kind of painted along it. At which point the individual kind of helping the younger kind of looking gentleman goes, yes. So just real quick, this is the drop pod Phoenix that the Inquisition uses. It's one of the various drop pods that we have here in the actual organization. If you want to go ahead and follow me, as you kind of now at this point bridges the couple feet of kind of space you gave to the perimeter of the shift plate and steps onto it, kind of a resounding kind of a hollow kind of metallic noise emitting. You guys both kind of step up. And he kind of grabs the central kind of handle and goes to kind of pull. And as he pulls, you can hear like it's like a seal of some sort is kind of broke. And you can kind of hear some arcane energy kind of disperse some as it kind of goes. And you can see that the door itself kind of starts to lift and go upward, kind of coming in like a hinge like this as it kind of starts to go up and hinges up like so. and then comes to rest. Yeah, and so the hexagonal, and then all kind of like, and there's a certain point where it kind of like, it's hexagonal, but then it kind of like hits a certain threshold, like 2/3 up, and then all the panels kind of start to like jet back in like this, and then it comes to make that top kind of portion housing, just to reiterate that. And so the door itself kind of has that flat face, and it doubles back and goes up, and not, the door doesn't come up all the way, like it's not the entirety of this wall, but it's a portion of it. Whew. All right, are you confused yet? So, and I can send some photos maybe in the Discord later. But as you go ahead, as it kind of opens up and this individual kind of walks in, you can see as you step in, it is a larger space than you would assume would be in like a transportation vehicle. The interior of this is probably about, I'd probably say about 50. Let's say 40 to 50 to 60 feet across, kind of like from one end to the other end. And then like, and then obviously you kind of to the left and right, it's kind of like, it's about, I would say 20 or 25 feet to this central kind of supporting pillar that runs in the middle of it. And then it's like another about probably 20 or so feet across from that. And it's the same for each kind of section of this hexagon. And just immediately as you walk in, you can just hear kind of like the humming of arcane power and presence. And as you're looking around, you can see that kind of opposite of the door on the back, kind of, because the hexagon is, let's see, it's 1, 2, 6. So yeah, you have like the 2 that kind of jet like so, and then directly on the other kind of flat facing wall, you can see a large instrument panel kind of built in and just kind of recessed into the wall itself. You can, as he walks around the kind of supporting central piece, you can see that there is just like kind of glyphs and kind of buttons and levers and a lot of different stuff that is all makes up this kind of the workings of each individual component of this drop pod. And he just goes and takes the time with you, probably a good 10-15 minutes, to kind of just outline everything. Which I will not go ahead and personally do because it is a lot of stuff. But he does give you up to speed, and this is stuff is just as a refresher for you. And it's just, you can connect to a lot of the education that you've learned and how to actually operate this device. But here you are, and I would say maybe some nerves probably start to set in as you yourself are going to be the sole or the, I say, primary individual to man this thing and get it down to the respective location for your team. What are you thinking about while this individual's kind of just giving you all the details and explaining everything here?
Just a little stressed overall. First time implementing my knowledge in real life with higher stakes. So just a little stressed is really the main thought. I don't know about overwhelmed because I'm familiar with the process, but more stressed about getting it right because never done it for real.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm like, get over this. Like, come on, man. I just want to go.
Did you follow them in? Tiberius?
Yeah, I mean,
commander.
I'm just sitting. I mean, I'm here. Just
okay.
Like,
sounds good.
What's going on? Like, I'm like, come on. Like, you know what? We got to learn by experience.
Absolutely, Captain, for sure. But obviously, I mean, we have the time, so it's always best to go over things and make sure everything is in order and that we're all up to speed. And this is what I was directed to do. So apologies for the inconvenience. I'm sure you guys are. We
have a time schedule we have to meet.
Understood, Captain. Tabix, is there anything else that you have any other questions?
I don't think so, Captain. I think we're good to go.
Okay. All right.
Excellent.
All right. Well, good luck. And hopefully see you back here within the next handful of hours or so. So,
soon.
Kind of looks and kind of nods over to you, Tiberius, and just like scurries out of the pod.
People that work here are crazy.
I will say the interior as you walk into the front kind of the main door off to the left hand side where those two kind of angled facing plates of this the pod, that is where all the seating is. That is where the 5 kind of seats are all aligned and kind of in a row, kind of in that area. and then off to the right-hand side. So you kind of have the door directly across is the instrument panel where everything is. You have the seats and everything for the strike team members that will not be obviously manning. You have the engineer over at the panel, and then on the right-hand side you have like shelving and places where you can kind of tie down and affix any equipment and everything you guys need to kind of fasten down and secure down. You kind of have almost like smaller versions of the lockers you guys have that have like mounts for your weapons, kind of ways that you can keep your items contained as well. Is there anything else that you guys, or anything? Did you? I know Tiberius followed Tabix. Is there anything that you, Dallin, or you, Valdis, you'd like to do?
No, I'm just waiting.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I'll stay to the side while Tabix is getting the brief.
Okay, so you guys inside, or you guys just outside, just kind of chilling? Sorry,
I'll be outside. We're just basically just watching Tabix get the brief.
Okay.
I mean, are we able to load the pod?
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, this is the time that you guys can be able to kind of start fixing your gear. I would say, like at this point, it has been you guys. It is definitely now a little bit past 6, and so you guys. Or sorry, no, it's getting closer to 7 o'clock because you guys kind of got here a little bit before 6. You guys you tuned to your armor and everything. I would say you guys are probably about T-10 before actual 7 o'clock is when push off will be.
Yeah, I'll enter the drop pod and start loading up, and I guess fixing like the gear and all that.
Okay, sounds good. So as you go ahead and take your armaments, kind of start to adjust them and put them into the right-hand section of this drop pod where a lot of the storage containers are. I'm assuming that you guys kind of all do this. Medical bundle for you, Tabix, definitely should come off and be put into the portion there. There is a seat. There are 5 seats onto the kind of left-hand side of this pod where everyone does sit, but there is also a seat that is affixed to the actual center kind of supporting pillar where you can kind of behind the instrument panel where you'd be able to kind of in the last-minute ditch kind of hook yourself up, Tabix, and get yourself seated right before you hit, ground and can, you don't get flung around while in the pod, so.
I'll ask... So I'll go up to Tiberius actually, and I'll say, so when do we want to get the sample? Do we want to just get that and then drop it? Maybe get a marker on where it is, or do we want to do that on the way out?
Let's try to get it on the way out, so we don't have to leave it around. I'm thinking that on our exit, we'll pick it up. That might not be the wisest. In case our exit's hot, but our priority, like she was saying, is to, do our mission. So the sample, we'll get the sample on the way out.
Well, I guess if we have time on the way in, I guess we could get it. I do understand not wanting to leave it, but
I'd like to not leave it.
Let's try to say there truly is nothing out there. They can always come back and get it. We don't have to worry about it, as long as we mark the location.
I think that we do. I would really much just prefer to grab it on the way out, so we don't have to leave it around.
Roger that, Captain.
But we'll see. You Yeah, never mind. I'm lost in my own thoughts.
All good, Captain.
All right. At which point you do go ahead and as the individual who's kind of helping you, Tabix, goes ahead and departs the pod. As you, Valdis, you're kind of assisting everyone getting their things affixed to the actual kind of section. And I will say this wasn't kind of annotated, but there is obviously, and these are things that were kind of that will be loaded up in addition to, like, things are as Valdis, you're kind of affixing your equipment. There's various sections too where like food has been loaded up, water has been loaded up, like normal survivability kind of operational things have been loaded up as well. That's stuff that isn't sent to your lockers. That's stuff that's just immediately loaded to the pod upon preparation for it. So
does the pod stay?
No.
Oh, okay.
The pod. Wait. Oh no. Yes, the pod. When you hit, the pod will stay. You guys need the pod to then leave.
Okay, so we could get the sample, then put it on the pod.
Yes, if you wanted to, you could. Yes.
Okay.
Could we have something? I suppose it'd be designed probably quite a while ago. Something along the lines of like a large bag that I would carry. That would be like a lot of the team's gear.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's
Something that would allow like the team to be more mobile.
Yeah,
so I
and
can carry a lot more.
sure. Yeah, and like rations, food, just basic equipment and stuff like that. You guys can for sure have kind
Just
of
pretty much it'll pretty much be known that like, you know, people just carry like their combat load or maybe a little bit more, and then the rest can go in there.
Yeah, and the thing is too is generally if you can get your drop pod pretty close to operating area, then generally you can like you won't have to haul too much stuff. You can usually you can maybe operate out. You can just leave some of the stuff in there if you guys need to like go back or whatever. So it just depends on what you guys want. But there is a equipment that you can use that will bring it there.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to store anything, you can store it in that bag.
Yeah.
All right, slick.
Yep. And I would say, honestly, for the purposes of this, because this would definitely be something that you utilize as an organization, didn't really think about it till now, it's a bag of holding. It's just a big-ass bag of holding. You can just shove shit in there, and you can take that shit out.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that kind of helps bridge the gap of...
Dang, can people go in there?
Can people go in the back? No. No.
You need air.
You do need air.
Technically, I don't need air.
Technically, you don't, but you can't fit. Because it's a bigger bag of holding for you, but it's not like super significant.
Put it on my head.
You just can't see shit.
No, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah. So, all right.
Hold on. As an organization, why don't we just have a bag of holding that is just the armory?
Liability.
Oh, the enemy.
Yeah, if you lose a bag of holding with all the armory in it, then you're kind of hooked.
No.
Yeah, okay, you didn't think about that now, did you?
No.
You didn't think about that now, did you, big man? But
fair enough.
Fair enough. Before too long, there's that time that you guys are cleared. Everything's set up. Everything is good to go. You do see a gnomish individual kind of walk up into the drop pod to you, Tiberius, as you're kind of just standing by. As this kind of, obviously shorter gnome stature. You can see that his hair is completely slicked back, kind of goes and runs down kind of the back of his neck and kind of, continues on. You can see he got some piercings kind of on kind of the eyebrow, kind of some of the ears as he walks over and is, all right, well, Captain Tiberius, is there anything else that your compatriots need? Or are we able to go ahead and ship you out?
I think we're ready to depart, sir.
All right. Well, I think all of the last-minute systems checks that we might need to conduct are showing all good for the drop pod, and so I think that without further ado, you can go ahead and close hatch, and we'll see you when you return.
All right, let's lock her up, boys.
All righty. Best of luck to you. And then as he just kind of walks immediately right back out, there is a similar handle on the interior of this kind of raised hatch. Tiberius, as you go ahead and grab it, and you can and there is resistance to it as you kind of grab it. You have to kind of pull it in. Eventually, though, you kind of seat it. And there are some, like garage door kind of locks that you can like slide into place and keep things kind of. In place. There are 4 of those, 2 on each side. And as you go ahead and grab it, you kind of slide them all into place.
Before I close the last one, I look at Tavix.
I look back.
I just walk it as I look at him, and I just go sit down.
I think to myself, that was weird.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Excellent. I go over to Brother of Aldous. Are you ready?
Ready, Captain.
And I finally end Adalin. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Alrighty, lads.
Sir.
We're gonna launch her off.
All right. Sounds good. Also, I don't know what the fuck. I just typed in ominous fantasy music, so out of the music shit for you guys in the Discord. GG. Yeah.
Ominous.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm going to switch over the music for this now. So, actually, I think this kind of warrants a little bit of.
This shit kind of lit.
Yeah, he's going kind of crazy.
Is it really? Let me actually kind of curious. Let me hear it.
Well, it was.
Oh.
It was really quiet. I couldn't actually hear it.
Oh. Well,
I think we're good now. Anyway,
anywho, let me go
It's
ahead.
time to drop, boys.
where
Keep it
we
tucked,
dropping, boys?
Keep it good.
All
Where
right.
we dropping, Tavix?
Can I like pull something to like launch this thing?
No, you can't.
Oh my god.
Yo, we're
Damn.
lit.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and actually.
Hell.
Hold on. Actually, hold on. Let me switch the music. Is the music being fucking weird?
It's like no, it's dope. Leave it.
Hold on. Oh, I was gonna make it more intense because like this is gonna be kind of an intense portion.
No, this is dope, dude.
All right, sounds
We
good.
might be building to something intense.
It's
All right.
clicking.
So as you're I make eye contact with Tabix, you slam the last one down, and as you do so, you go ahead and place yourself in your seats. There are accommodations. There is like it's like almost like a range. There's like a couple seats. There's a couple seats that are kind of like normal size. Hold on. Do I gotta listen to this?
Shit's going.
It's like a fucking rave.
Fucking,
Hold on.
fucking hard style.
Holy shit! What the?
The suspense is crazy.
Dude, holy shit.
Nah, dude,
We are
when Captain
hot-dropping.
Tiberius is like, "Is he ready?" It's the speaker.
This is the type of shit you play when you're hot dropping tilted.
Bro, I'm
Dude,
leaving
trick
it.
through an asteroid field.
I'm leaving
Dude,
it.
I've heard this exact song on 15 different RuneScape streams.
Dude, this is crazy as fuck.
Are you really?
Dude,
Honestly, probably.
what is Sequence and Ominous at
Yes.
Ghost Town 2014? All right, well, okay. Well, I have it playing through the stream now. So, as you lock it in, you now begin as so. What do you say?
Go.
Go! Drop!
Okay, so anyway, so there are seats that are like normal humanoid sized up until like larger, and like they kind of scale. So it's Dallin and Valdis, you guys are easily able to kind of sit yourself into the larger portions, strap yourself in. Tiberius, you're set. You're set. And now for you, Tabix, as you're going ahead and you and this was obviously part of your brief. You go ahead and start the kind of entry protocol as you start kind of some of the arcane powered pieces of equipment on the drop pod. And as you do so, okay, I cannot. I'm gonna mute this shit. You guys can enjoy your rave. So as you go ahead and get the kind of instruments set up, now you guys all kind of feel this kind of reverberation, kind of this kind of humming kind of throughout the floor, and kind of this slight shake to the drop pod itself. You can then feel kind of a lurch familiar to all but you, Tabix, as you can feel the floor underneath you as you guys start to lower. And as you guys start to kind of recess into that platform that's raised up for you guys to become flush, it starts to rescend and go down and get you into the proper housing of the kind of lower portion of the floor, where all the arcane signaling and power allows for this massive construction and this drop pod device to shift across the planes. And so as you feel it, is when you hear the humming of it as everything starts to shift, and you can hear the metallic kind of stopping and starting of different things as the layers kind of start to continue to go down, and eventually it stops when you guys it shakes the pod. As you sit there, Tabix, you start to continue to press certain things that prime in on your end, but then you also hear, and you just hear this massive kind of loud pulsing energy wave, and you guys can feel it as it kind of comes into contact with the drop pod, and as it kind of, you can feel this effects as it shoots out, and you can just feel it. No matter how many times you guys shift across the Shadefall, this moment is always fairly intense as it, and then all of a sudden the pulsing kind of gets faster, and before eventually it just becomes a constant, and then it starts to pitch higher and higher, and almost to the point where it's just like kind of just almost too loud to bear. In an instant, just, and it's just your reality, the vision before you snaps, and briefly you can see only kind of just black and gray and just whites and just all these different colors of just these darker kind of shades, as all of a sudden Actually, you yourself. No. Hold on. I take that back because that you guys aren't individually transporting. You're transporting through the pod. So all the noise immediately stops, and there's a moment where it almost feels like you guys. It's just everything's still. It's like a split. Like a second goes by and split, and you guys are looking. It's still in the pod just momentarily, kind of just waiting for the impact, waiting for the transition. As all of a sudden, boom! As the pod lurches, and Tabix, you not expecting. Go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh shit.
$12.
12? I'd say that's enough. It was unexpected, but you managed to kind of, and there are a couple handles around because you're gonna be standing. So you're like, and you kind of grab a handle off to the right hand side of the instrument panel, kind of attached to one of the connecting kind of pieces of the wall as you kind of as you kind of push yourself back up, and as you guys all are kind of jerked around briefly, there are these kind of like there are these screens. There are these 6 screens to the left and right of the instrument panel that kind of go from like I would say a couple feet off the ground up into the ceiling that are almost kind of in a curved angle for you, Tabix. And I forgot to mention the roof of this of the drop pod as it kind of tapers out to the top is about, I would say, 13-14 feet. Kind of almost at a little bit taller at the very, very point, but as a headroom. But you can see as the shift and you fall and you kind of push yourself back, you can see all of these screens light up. And all of a sudden you can see almost a 360-degree visual of the landscape below you as it projects through using scrying magic, as it projects on the exterior of the drop pod down the surface below you. And as you were looking below, a little bit of your vision is kind of broken up by some darker kind of blackened kind of clouds. But as you're hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet up off the air, something that you've never quite seen, experienced before, as you're now kind of almost feel very like it's almost like a sinking feeling in your stomach as you're visually in the interior of this pod. You can't see out besides the singular kind of circular kind of window at the front of the pod itself with the door. But you can only see out of these things, and you kind of get this like kind of almost like head rush sinking feeling of like, damn, these are like probably 1,000+ feet in the air. But then quickly you snap back to it, and you start to kind of look around and see kind of where you need to go. Go ahead and make me a perception check for
me. 18.
18. So as each of these monitors is displaying a face, like a section of one of the hexagonal kind of faces of the drop pod, right? And they kind of almost each of these are kind of segmented to a point where you almost have a full picture as you're looking at them, kind of in each area. The left 3 are kind of the front. The front, the left, or the front, and then the 2 panels on the left, the 2 walls, and then the other 3 are the 2 panels on the right and the back. So as you're kind of looking out, you can see all this. Below you can see a massive expanse. How much? Sorry, what was your check again?
Was it 16? I think it was 16. I forgot my check.
Okay,
I don't remember what I said.
Who remembers? Somebody.
Oh wait, I think it was 18. It was 16 or 18.
Okay.
One of the 2.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds
17.
good. As you look, you can see below you this massive kind of expanse of just these. Well, they look like trees, but they're just gnarled and they're blackened and they're just. You can see even from kind of up here, you can see that the coloration of the landscape is not like traditional trees of like color, like green or of anything like that. It is like barren, blackened, kind of just distant landscape. You can see there's obviously objects that are occupying the landscape below, but they are gnarled and twisted. And then on top of that, you can see this hue, this green kind of hue to the landscape. It's almost like a fog of some sort that rises up from the ground, and you can see it covers this entire area. And you can kind of see, even since you're initially dropping in, you can see where the mountains and kind of on both sides kind of create this like valley kind of area where the festering woods are. And you can see this greenish kind of hue encompasses all of it and just stretches out on either side. Additionally, you can kind of see where the master of reconnaissance was noting the switchback kind of cutting through river of sorts, as that it's also is this kind of putrid-looking, sickly green, as you can see as it runs through the landscape itself. All right. From this distance, I would say it's kind of hard to necessarily see anything distinguishable. I would say with that roll, you do see that there are kind of some anomalies amongst the landscape. You can see where there are kind of these taller looking kind of trees, or taller looking kind of objects. And it does seem to be almost like these portions that have almost this congregation of kind of this greenish hue aura color. It is still kind of far up, so it's kind of hard to truly determine a lot of the actual individual details. But you can go ahead and make me your first vehicle skill check. It is going to be I think I want to say it's your intelligence and your proficiency to calculate this. Also, what did you want to sync your stats for your armor? I forgot to double back on that.
Strength went down 1, intelligence went up 1.
Okay, sounds good. If that's all you wanted to do, then that works. Go ahead and roll your Make your D20 roll, and go ahead and add your intelligence plus your proficiency.
Wait, what is happening right now?
Bro.
This
Ori is dope as hell.
A dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Very good.
Ori has 2 glow sticks, and he's just killing it, dancing around.
I'm the DJ for the ride.
Oh, you guys are still listening to that music.
Yeah, we're going.
No, so even with this very kind of abrasive, high, I would say, stress kind of environment you were thrown into to control this pod downward, you immediately crank into gear using the various kind of monitors that they have set up to be able to see what's outside of the pod. You manage to start to manipulate the arcane thrusters, and you can feel everybody sitting down as well can feel you can hear it's almost like a flame kind of burst as it, and you can feel the drop pod kind of shifting some as you are making your way. So if you were just to look at this whole kind of encounter, north being northwest, north being kind of forward, west being left, right, east being right, west being left, south being kind of, just think of it in like the trajectory kind of the table that you guys were at. So as you guys dropped in, you guys were almost, I would say, a little bit kind of offset to the east, dead center of the woods. And as you can feel, as you kind of engage the thrusters, you're shifting over and you're continuing to head east, kind of maneuvering yourself so that you go a little bit south, kind of into the direction that she was explaining to you. The visuals on the illusory kind of display table were not completely accurate, but they did a good job at least depicting something, so you had a reference, and so now you're able to kind of start shifting as you guys are all kind of lurched, kind of jerked around the drop pod as it kind of continues to shake as you guys are entering back down towards the earth. As you do so, you kind of just monitor it, and you're keeping, at this point, you're just making sure that you kind of are just fine-tuning it, hitting some of the other thrusters to stabilize and make sure you don't just go too far. But I will say, as you're getting about halfway down, go ahead and make me another perception check.
17.
17, okay. That's good enough to, I would say that now you're about halfway down towards the earth, or this plane of existence, I'd say. You can kind of see kind of where you've already started to maneuver the drop pod. You can now see, and just kind of across the landscape itself, you can see these massive trees. Like there are kind of normally sized, if you want to call them that, kind of just like disheveled and dead and just gnarled looking kind of blackened trees. And then you can see these, like, there are these other ones that kind of stand taller than the rest as well, that also are similar in design, or similar in kind of construction and shape. But then even on top of that, there's these massive, thick ones that kind of just protrude and go up. And you can see as you're kind of looking, you see a couple. Okay, there's two. Okay, no. All right, there's one. No. Eventually, you triangulate. You find where there's kind of a cluster of, not cluster. There's still some distance apart, but there are three in kind of close proximity. And you're like, got it. Okay, let's roll.
Ends the trees.
So now you need to go ahead and make your second vehicle check, to go ahead and triangulate and get closer and try to fine tune this.
Just like the simulations.
16.
16. Nice. Okay, I will say this. The first one was DC 10, you passed. This one was DC 14, and you passed. You said 16?
Correct.
Okay.
My modifier is +7.
Nice. That's pretty...
No.
All right, it's pretty
Going
good.
good.
However, you as you continue, you can feel everybody. You can feel, and you all see Tabix over there, and he's shifting with the thrusters and stuff, but he's kind of grounded. He's on this instrument panel. You can see him twisting things. You see him pushing buttons. You can hear the humming of arcane energy as he's working this panel. And you guys can see, kind of looking, like briefly, you guys can check on the monitors too. They're kind of angled in the way so that the engineer can really get an understanding. But you guys can kind of look over and see that you guys are making an approach and kind of see the terrain around you. But you're doing good. You're really, like, you don't have to make too many fine-tuned adjustments. You're doing good. But you're now, I would say, probably about 3/4 of the way back down to the Earth. So I will go ahead and have you. At this point, you can see now up much closer. You can see this landscape, and you can see the hue of this kind of area, this kind of dense, like, green fog. You can see these tall trees, these gnarled trees, and it just looks so desolate. It almost looks like a massive festering scab or wound of some sort of this terrain below. But you're almost down, touching down. I will need you to make your final trajectory vehicle skill check.
Don't fuck it up.
Too
Hey, Biggs.
easy.
Go, bro.
Keep
13.
it tucked.
13.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
We're gonna have to...
His blood is on your hands, Corey.
Yo, this is going
We
to
all
lava.
die, campaign's over. Yeah, guys, we got
Yeah.
some news coming up.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it. I was like, bro, if he rolls super shitty, like, this could get real weird.
We just all die in the drop pod, and it's like, yeah,
Oh, yeah, every time, yeah,
Campaign next week, everyone. See ya.
We just land in the river. And
Yeah, you just
dissolve
melt and
thing.
just. No, so the
Play Strike Team Bane.
this,
It's like Strike Team Stray has all perished.
yeah, we
They
just have
just
to.
cloned us.
You switch teams. Hey, switch teams. No, so the DC for this was 17. However, you have passed your first initial, so your initial entry is going well. I will say, as you are trying to, I'll say this. So as you're getting closer, your trajectory is good. However, all of a sudden, it kind of in the back of your mind, like you would be, from what your trajectory was earlier, you would be almost striking like towards the exact middle of where this kind of area that she explained was, of, like, you know, kind of triangulating where these massive trees were to where the area of the to where maybe the ruins were. And then you were like, shit, I don't want to necessarily get too close to the drop point, because I don't want to smash into anything or, you know, disrupt anything, or, you know, you don't want to, there might be additional issues with that, or hitting, or, you know, your impact zone might be kind of skewed. So as you go ahead and adjust and try to get to like a healthy kind of safe distance from where you're actually landing, you kind of overcompensate some, and you start to kind of, and there's actually a moment where you guys are all sitting, and all of a sudden there's a massive, and all of a sudden, like, the drop pod shifts kind of harshly, and kind of starts to kind of move, and shift, and then to kind of correct, you kind of overcorrect with a different one, you kind of shift back, and it's just, the stress has kind of been building up. And as you guys are getting closer, like, the impact is now on your mind of like, oh, we're gonna like actually hit the earth. So there's a little bit of stress. You don't manage to shift too far off course. As an overall result, you did pass the skill checks. So you kept it cool. And I would say this: you didn't even fail.
Nice.
You didn't even fail in a wide degree. So that will definitely help for where you guys are going to be ending up. So
I should get a raise.
you should
Anyway.
get a raise.
I deserve a pay raise.
But before you kind of overcorrect and you adjust, and you're like, damn it, like, okay, but now at this point you can't worry about that.
What?
Now you have to, what?
What is this?
Oh, the music?
Oh,
Alright, I got you.
Oh, no, hold up. The song's singing about blood, mutilation,
Actually,
guns,
going
knives.
Hold on, I got something else for you guys.
Why is the same song?
What,
This is
Eric?
all the
Why
one
is this your
song.
theme song, bro?
Me,
He said you want to die, you low life.
bro,
Hey,
I
not
have the
run-
bot muted.
Oh, shit.
That's probably for the
you
best.
should've-
Not
Depending.
mine.
Depending. But as you're making your way, and the earth is rapidly approaching the screens that are reflecting where you guys are at, or where you are, where the drop pod is at, you have to kind of just the trajectory, you're close enough. You'll make it. You'll be all right. You guys can huff it if needs be. You now have to get the drop pod prepared to actually impact. And so I will go ahead and ask you to go ahead and make me one more skill check to ensure that the drop pod is in fact prepared for impact.
If I were to use my arm to stabilize here, would I get advantage?
Your arm to stabilize?
Yeah, myself, just to make sure this all goes well.
No. Oh wait,
That means you're only one-handed. You're gonna one-hand drive a drop pod?
What'd you roll?
Well, it's a joystick.
You roll a natural 1.
Yeah.
Oh god, we're dead.
Oh, no. Oh shit.
As I do, I'm gonna turn around and say, "Prepare for impact, boys."
Oh my god.
What do you mean by that, Tavix?
I mean, prepare for impact.
As you say, what do you mean by that, Tabix? Make me Oh, bro. Okay. You go. Okay, now I need to get ready.
We're dead.
So you spent too much time. You spent too much time trying to hit a solid trajectory. You're in a good area though. And then by the time that you were like, okay, I need to now focus on getting everything prepared and ready to go. You look at the screen and you are close, and you're like, and then you turn around and say, "Prepare for impact, boys."
Oh my god.
Airstrike now.
I will say this: do you want to Hail Mary and just smash some instrument panels to try to activate something?
Wait, can I roll perception while this is happening, or insight?
What are you trying to determine?
Well, I mean, so it's Tavex's first time, and I've been like watching him, control it.
Yes.
This is the first time, so and I'm like, I see like, that's why I want to roll like perception or insight to see if I can see like he's nervous.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Make
Like,
an insight.
I don't
make an
know.
Insight.
I don't know. Shit's fucked up.
Make an insight. Make an insight. Yes, go ahead. Make an insight check for me. I would say you notice this insight check as you're like looking at Tabix and looking at some of the monitors, and you're like, bro, this shit's like
insight. I get a 12.
Okay. I would say you see that something is wrong, like, or you see that they're like the gears are moving. The gears are moving. You can see that he's working. But I would say you correlate this kind of current instance to times past, and you know that generally the thrusters shouldn't be activating to a certain point of the descent, and he's still kind of fucking around with them. And you're like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then there's a certain point where he looks over and he's like, oh shit, you can see like a moment of panic. And you can see like sweat dripping from the side of his face. And you're like, he's like, and then he turns and says, "Prepare for impact, boys."
I go, and you're Tavix, are you okay? What's happening?
And then impact.
Figuring out the controls, Captain.
I would say if you're going to do something, you need to do something right now.
Lock my
Well, I'm
arm.
just gonna. If there's an e-brake, I pull it.
Okay, so you can go ahead and you can make me a straight roll, a d20, no add. You know where the instrument kind of where the instrument
Right
kind of
in the middle.
Hold on,
I hit
hold
a 10.
Did you roll already?
Yeah, I rolled a 10.
You rolled a 10. Okay, I was gonna say generally where the instruments are for impact reduction and dispersion. And you just smash your hands on some of that shit. You start turning some things.
Oh my god, dude.
Tiberius, are you doing anything?
Well, I'm like, oh shit. But I also know like I can't. If I get up out of the seat, I'm gonna die, possibly from the impact. So I can't move. And I'm like,
make me one more insight check for you, Tiberius. Maybe one more insight check just to see if you can determine time in this split second kind of moment here.
I get a 15.
15. You would have enough time. You would have a moment to do something and return back to your seat pretty much immediately.
Hold up. Give me 1 second.
Okay. All right. Tabix, you just start smashing instruments, and you start hitting buttons, and you're like looking at the monitor.
Wait. Okay. Do I know the lever that helps to slow us down in a quick time? Do I know where it is?
Oh, I would say make me a history check with advantage because you've done this so many times.
Okay.
This man rolled the nat 1 for impact.
That's
yeah.
Why
history.
haven't we just hit
History with
yet?
advantage. One sec. Oh,
We're in
He said-
fucking coyote
He said
time.
20 out the gate. 20 out the gate. We
history.
strong. We strong.
That's a 16.
Okay, I would say with that 16, you could look over and you know, like there is one distinct lever that they always pull, and you look over and Tabix is smashing buttons, and you're like, no, wait, I know there's a lever that activates the dampening field that you would need to take impact.
I cast Mage Hand to pull it from my seat.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so you go ahead
He
and
does
quickly you utter
And
the
then he gives-
incantation of Mage Hand, and as a spectral kind of hand, what color is your hand? What kind of flavor do you want to add to your hand, if any?
My hand's just gonna be blue. A
Okay.
nice blue.
Nice blue. Sounds good. As the blue, you're like hitting buttons, Sabix, and you're like, okay, you kind of step back to go sit down, and all of a sudden a spectral hand kind of apparates, grabs a lever, kind of slams it down, at which point you guys feel underneath the drop pod, like all of a sudden like, you feel like an arcane surge of and something happened, at which point Tabix, you're just back to the freaking seat, you smash on as much as you possibly can. Go ahead and make me a straight dexterity roll. Oh no, sorry, sleight of hand to see if you can affix all of your your belts and your straps before
17.
17. Okay, that's pretty good. I'd say you managed to get the majority of them. A couple, one or two, maybe not so, but you're at least stabilizing yourself. As you're you're fumbling, you get 1, 2. There's like maybe 2 or 3 more. You grab the third one, and then you're on the fourth before, boom, as the drop pod hits impacts. You guys all alerts. Thankfully, the majority of you are nice, fastened and secured. So you guys just shift, briefly. And as you guys make impact, it's not like an immediate impact and stop. You do feel like an impact, and then it almost feels like the drop pod kind of continues to go down some as it kind of, and you can hear it kind of grinding something underneath and continuing to kind of churn. But as you hit Tabix, you kind of hit, like your neck kind of snaps in a weird way. Kind of your shoulder kind of gives out and kind of hits something off to the side. You're like, ah, shit. Actually, you'll go ahead and take You'll just go ahead and take a simple d6 of bludgeoning, which will be 3 points of bludgeoning, just as you kind of make impact, not secured in your actual seat, but you do touch down. And eventually, a couple moments go by, and the drop pod does finally. You can hear the kind of grinding, some of the arcane kind of, a lot of the kind of powers and the different kind of metallic and kind of different noises that you hear. Eventually, you can hear kind of stop. The crunching kind of stops. And eventually, it just becomes kind of silent as the whining of all the machinery kind of powers down, not completely down, but kind of comes down, and then you can kind of hear and kind of re-energizes, and you can almost feel the drop pod almost kind of going, it almost seems to be shifting in a way. Is it kind of like you guys are kind of moved back and forth, not entirely sure what's happening? But you feel the drop on moving for a little bit more. I would say for the majority of you, you guys would know that the impact of the drop pod, depending on certain buttons that are pressed, there's a lot of contingencies for certain things. The lever that you pulled, Tiberius, was like a last-ditch effort, pretty much an e-brake, like you were saying. What it does is instead of there's a lot of arcane things that kind of help dampen and disperse the energy and kind of help do certain things. There's a lot more elements to a clean landing. You basically pulled the lever, and with your 10 that you rolled on a 50-50 there, Tabix, you guys essentially managed to at least pull enough things to at least enact the emergency land, where it impacts and the pod continues to shoot through the earth a good way, so that way the energy is dispersed to a certain capacity, so you guys aren't all just hitting and just getting crumpled and destroyed and killed. So you can now feel the pod kind of going and finishing that protocol of kind of shifting itself and kind of trying to kind of disperse some of the dirt and kind of get you guys some sort of clearing as you guys have now made impact into the earth. As this is happening, are you guys saying anything?
I go. I don't say anything. Frankly, you know what? I'm gonna be a nice guy. I'm thinking. I'm like, Tavix is brand new. We're not dead.
Okay.
Covered. And I'm just like, I just get up. I look over. I say, Brother Valdis, prepare for us to exit the pod.
I'll unlatch my seat, stand up quickly, move over to my armaments. Preparing to secure beachhead, Captain.
Get ready, boys. We're headed out. You good,
Yeah.
Tabex, Dolan?
I'll let out a groan, slap the button to release the belts.
Yep.
And I'll quickly get my gear and start stepping out.
Yeah, follow Brother Valdis.
Prior to them
Establishing a perimeter.
wipe some sweat off.
Yeah,
So
what are you
my
thinking?
nervous
What are you
sweat
thinking,
there.
man? What are you thinking?
I'm like,
What's Tavex?
I'm glad we're alive. I'm hoping no one else caught on to the, the panic that may have insinuated. So I'm just gonna quickly wipe that sweat off. And when the captain asks if we're ready, I'm good to go, Captain, and just stand straight up.
I will
Follow
say.
Dolan out, Tabex. I'll go up with Brother Valdis.
Okay. So as you kind of undo your half kind of fastenings as you go and stand up, Brother Valdis and Dolan, you guys are already kind of fixing things.
Wait, sorry to interrupt. While this is happening, I walk up to Dolan. I say, "Hey, keep Tabex close. Don't let him stray off too far and keep him safe. I'm gonna trust you with him for this mission."
That was already the plan.
Excellent.
Some mercy.
So I will say this: as you stand up, it's not very distinct, but you do notice it because you're kind of just taking a look around there, Tapex. You do notice that on the instrument panel, there is kind of a portion towards the top, kind of like central area, and you do notice that there are a handful of red lights flashing. Those handful of red lights would indicate that there has been sustained damage to the drop pod. Thankfully, as you kind of lean, actually, do you decide to inquire further?
Yes.
As you go ahead and take your way, or make your way up, kind of bridge the gap from your seat to the instrument panel, you look. Thankfully, these are some lucky rolls and some intervention, because holy shit,
It's only mortal damage.
the damage appears to only, and you can look around and you can see. First of all, I mean, a lot of the feeds for the like kind of the monitors and stuff of the exterior, you can see that they're obviously darkened because of the impact into the earth, but you can also see that some are kind of static and kind of like distorted and kind of broken, and those feeds you can tell are probably some sort of scrying device that has been damaged on impact, as well as you have noticed that some of the thrusters themselves for the drop pod are damaged. However, looking across, it looks like the only exterior of the pod was taken any sort of integrity hits to it. And looking over the instrument panel, just a quick glance around, and with your understanding, you can see that at least the return protocol functions seem to be in order, and that getting out of here shouldn't be an issue in theory.
In theory. Perfect. Mental note.
All right. So as you go ahead and stand up, you take a quick glance over. At this point, I would say you, Brother Valdis, you can go ahead and you've kind of opened up all the different various cages. You're kind of shoving things into your bag. You're grabbing your hammer. You're getting everything attached. Everybody's getting their things. Dolan, you as well, grabbing all your armaments, your everything, your whatnots. Who is opening the breach to the exterior of this space?
I will.
So after when Tiberius said like to get ready, I will just grab my armaments to start.
Okay.
I wouldn't initially grab grabbing like the backpack, and then we're gonna quickly open the door and secure the outside.
Okay, sounds good. I will say at this point, there is still some shifting and whatnot of dirt, which you would know is kind of getting you guys at least some sort of dispersal of exit. You guys won't be covered by earth. It's at least attempting to do that. But after a couple more moments, it does kind of, you hear like the powering down of some of the noise and some of the equipment, and you can go ahead and, if you would like, go to the front door. The four latches are set.
I guess I'll grab one side, you can grab the other. Dolan.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll have shield on one side, and then I'll be on the right side of the door to activate the right.
Yeah,
because I'm assuming some of this is like kind of like a standard drill, kind of.
yes.
Like, it's not like each drop. It's not just like we sit there and wait for like Tiberius or whoever to give you orders.
You never know what you
we
never
establish
know
a perimeter, and then
you never know what you're getting into.
Yeah, so like the drop pod would deploy. You're not just sitting there, because it's like everything would something would notice the pod's there. So you're
Yeah,
gonna move out
I'm
quickly.
doing the same drills we do with strikers.
There you go. All right. So
Fixing them because they're on fire.
hell yeah. So yeah, and this is like probably about like an 8 to 12 foot wide door. So you guys have plenty of room to both kind of sit on each side, and you simultaneously as you kind of get the latches undetached. Who's pushing this pod open?
I'll push the door open.
You push it open, I'll exit.
Okay. So as you go ahead and as it you can hear the seal kind of as the door kind of you can push once you push it open and you get to a certain point it starts to kind of come up on its own.
As it starts to open, I'll pivot around, place my shield in front of me, get my sword at the ready, and be ready to push out.
Okay, sounds good. As you kind of immediately are in this, kind of visually looking and making any, checks in this space. Go and make a perception check for me, Dylan.
All right. That'll be an 11.
11. Okay. Well, I'd say the most distinct thing that you first see as the door comes to finally kind of is opening. All you see is dirt in the immediate area as you are like kind of looking around and kind of checking to make sure up and down and everything. And as the door finally comes and kind of fully comes to sits and rest, you guys are surrounded by dirt, and you can see that as you look up, the drop pod as it made contact, it hit at an angle like such, and as it shot through the earth and it kind of had to like rectify itself, it couldn't fully kind of seat up, but it did manage to kind of disperse at least a chunk of the earth kind of around the front, and it was collapsing kind of some of the earth above. And as it does so, basically it almost just like disintegrates it in a way, just kind of like disperses it, and it kind of just gets it cut and cleared and whatnot. Now you guys aren't in a fat angle, you guys are only offset slightly, so as the door came up, you can just you just see kind of dirt in like a slight hill kind of falling down towards you guys as you guys are exiting. So you guys are kind of recessed in the ground probably about 15, 16 or so feet. So you're gonna have to like kind of almost climb up out of this hole that it kind of cleared for you.
All right, I'll heft my shield onto my back where there's like some racks to be able to just have it there, keep it there for temporary, and I'll start climbing my way up.
Okay. I will say this. There wasn't anything necessarily immediate. But as you kind of have to, you fix yourself and you guys kind of have to, so it's like this, and there's almost like a dirt kind of mound that you guys have to kind of almost climb up and out. As soon as you kind of step out, immediately your lungs are attacked. As all of a sudden you just feel this heavy, thick kind of air as you're breathing it in. It starts to sting, and it stings your throat, and it stings your lungs as you immediately kind of you're going to push, and all of a sudden you kind of have to cough, and kind of takes a second. It lasts and it stings, but it's not like unbearable by necessarily any means. But you kind of have to.
All right.
It takes a second to kind of gather yourself. Go ahead.
I'll go out, start coughing, hesitate a little bit. Rebreathers on, boys. They weren't lying about this air. And I'll go back in and get that on.
I'll proceed forward.
Brother Valdis, you are not affected by this, thankfully, through your augmentations. However, as you hear this, you both, Tapix and Tiberius, you guys aren't directly aware of this. And then as he kind of comes back into the space, slowly you can almost feel like the air around you is getting thicker. And it's like, it's weirdly abrasive, and then all of a sudden it starts to sting as you start to breathe it in, as it starts to fume into the pod. And you can almost see it. It's odd. You can almost see this like greenish kind of hue to the air as it starts to kind of filter in and kind of occupy the space within.
Yeah, I mean, since I've been down here before, this is not my first rodeo, so I head over and grab my gas, like rebreather or gas mask or whatever.
So you have not been to this particular area before? You have not been into an area like this that is heavily concentrated like this in some capacity? You do know that the rebreathers, they are effective with kind of dispelling some of this stuff. However, you do also know that the rebreathers are timed. There is a time limit to them. So that is something to keep in mind when it comes to utilization of them. But as you guys go ahead and make your way, as you guys are kind of experiencing this, you go ahead and you go to the lockers and whatnot where they're kind of hanging. You do see that there are 5 rebreathers kind of just hanging on some of the hooks.
How much like filter do we have?
The filters, so generally, and this is something.
Bring extra.
So generally, if you guys, I would say you would know this, Tiberius. You have not been to this area, but you generally, if you guys encounter any sort of poisonous air or intoxication of some, or poison in the air or some sort of alteration of the area, you generally, it's not like heavily contaminated. It's not widespread. Usually, you just need to use the rebreathers for a short period of time. So you would know that the rebreathers only have about an hour or 2 of actual filtration. So,
yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I just go, hey guys, remember, we can use rebreathers for now, but use them sparingly. The moment we take them off, we can take them off because we'll have to walk back through this smog, potentially on our way back. So we'll need them double time.
They know to have loaded extra for us or no?
So rebreathers aren't necessarily a standard issue in the sense of like they do send a couple like with you, but they don't send this many. Like this is some kind of advanced technology, and so they don't send every single strike team because not every single strike team necessarily needs them. They have like 1 or 2. So the fact that they gave you already 5 base is pretty good. Is pretty is already above par, and there are no additional canisters. They're kind of like a lot of your other guys' equipment where it's arcane in nature, and so the restoration of the properties take kind of some pretty in-depth arcane battery recharging.
Okay, then I guess yeah, I guess.
And just also highlight something too. It's not like suffocating you guys are dying. It's like, okay, this stings, it hurts, but I would say even as you guys are kind of contemplating this, it's not like you're not. I wouldn't say you're getting attuned to it or used to it, but it's not like so abrasive. Like fuck, I'm dying, I'm choking. It's like this kind of sucks, but I'm just letting.
Question.
I'm letting this be known so you guys can make a choice. What's up? Yeah.
So can I? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can I cast Prestidigitation to clean the air?
Let me go ahead and check real quick. I like to look at the spell
before
I answer this. Let me see what it says, just to make sure. Spells a minor trick. You practice. So you spell is a minor magical trick that novice spellcasters use for practice. You create one of the following magical effects. You create. No, I would say it being a cantrip, and it says it's what is this? Transmutation. Yeah, you create instantaneous harmless sensory effect. Light. You clean or soil an object no large. No. Yeah, this the air around you.
The air particles are objects at the microscopic level.
Well, at the microscopic
microscopic
level, you wouldn't even have enough. Like it wouldn't clean enough for it to even necessarily put an effect. Like you try it. Like you as your character can try. You try it, and you're like, okay, let me shoot.
I want to snap my fingers and cause a quick flame.
Sounds good. You kind of as you do so, but it does not sadly clean the air around you.
Damn it!
Ignites the gasoline.
Yeah, it's actually all flammable gas.
Look, hand the rebreathers. I put one on and I head out to the pod with Brother Valdis.
I'll have it with me, like attached at the hip or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess is that something that they would know that they could store extra in the bag if you want?
Oh, I'm gonna have mine on me.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and write this down. So Tiberius, you go ahead and put one on.
Yeah.
Okay. Tabix, what are you doing through all this?
I'm gonna follow suit with the captain. I'll put one on.
Okay. Tabix, you as well. Okay.
Wait, this app is elite, by the way.
It is, dude. Isn't that nice, bro? It's yeah. That one is actually really good.
Whoever made this gets a
high five.
Gets an extra. Gets a big high five.
That's just lit.
Did you pay any money for it or? for the bonus.
I have the free version.
Dude,
even the free version is really
the
good.
free version gives you literally everything. Like I would, like that's the kind of app that like you just pay for it just because you're like, I want to support this person for making an insane fucking app.
No, yeah, it's like this is elite. This is an elite app.
Absolutely. Paying for it and having the characters set up is nice.
Yes, but as Tiberius and Brother Volus, you step out and you start to kind of make your way up this kind of almost kind of dirt ramp as you kind of have to scale up to be able to kind of visually see the landscape around you as you made impact. It's kind of difficult because some of the earth is obviously kind of has kind of become soft and kind of was dispersed through magical means, and so it's a little bit, you have to kind of step in and kind of get your way up, but you do manage to make your way. And as you step up, you can see around you just, well, first of all, the kind of the mist and this green hue that lingers in the air is dense around you. Truly, it is. It's not so much that it impedes your vision greatly, but it is like a light fog in some form as you look around, and it just kind of covers the landscape. Additionally, as you guys look and kind of see, go ahead and make perception checks, both of you.
Me and
are you coming over behind them?
Yeah, I was gonna come out.
Sounds good. Yeah, and honestly, Tapix, if you want to as well, go ahead. No worries.
Perception.
Yes, perception.
14.
I'm embarrassed of my roll. I'd rather not.
Okay, sounds good. You just close your eyes.
Yeah, you did say
It's a 4, but
okay.
So
you're rolling really well, and now here we are.
You got a 14.
Yeah,
14.
here we are.
All right, Tiberius, what was yours?
Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
I got a. What am I rolling again?
Perception.
Shoot, I'll have to scroll up. Perception. That's gonna be 11.
11. Okay. So as you guys come up, rolling between 10 to 15 as a collective for the most part, except for one. But Tabix is still kind of like, I could have. You're kind of like shaking, like I could have killed everybody. Let me go ahead and take 5 for myself.
Exactly.
As you guys all look around, you see that the majority of the population of trees here are these blackened kind of, and even these trees have in some sort of way kind of a greenish kind of segmented, like some green to them mainly, but it could be also just a kind of a weird manipulation of the fog and the air kind of around here. But you can see that there's a majority of these trees are just kind of these blackened, gnarled, dead, very dead looking trees that go probably up anywhere from like 8 to maybe 15 feet. They scatter the landscape around you. However, as you guys are looking around, you can see these bigger trees, these larger ones that probably go about, I would say maybe they range from 18 to probably like 20 or so, maybe plus feet that they go up. Similar in kind of darkened kind of exterior bark, kind of gnarled branches kind of creeping out, kind of with like these kind of gross gnarled kind of hands almost looking coming out. As you see them, but you can see that there are like portions of these trees that you can see these large kind of decaying, oozing bark splits that are just seeping this green like ooze of some sort, this thick green kind of ooze as it drips down the bark and it makes its way and it hits the base, hits like the roots at the base of it. And you can see from these bigger kind of taller trees, you can see that they're just like, as the ooze just kind of disperses over time, and as you kind of follow it down to the ground, you can see that the ground is kind of made up of this kind of blackened earth of some sort, kind of black and brown earth. But you can also see that there are like just different there's just buildups of just like this like almost like fungus or moss of some sort that just glows an eerie kind of green. And you can see that like this moss kind of like is built up around these kind of discharged kind of portions of the tree's ooze, but then there's also just portions of it scattered around as well. So it's kind of weird. It's like it seems that they are attached to these larger trees that are just emitting this gross ooze, but then there's also just a smattering as well. It's very weird. It's almost like parasitic in nature. You can see as this landscape is like almost just like was a once dead forest now being infected by something. This ooze just is creeping. What would you guys like to do? I will say this, as you guys made your way to the top of this and kind of looking around, you can see that you can see that as you guys are looking, and this kind of plays into your roles a little bit too. It's you guys are looking intently, but like now that you're up here, you're kind of standing here. Not only is your lungs kind of hurting and your throat, but also your eyes are kind of burning slightly as well as you guys are trying to look around.
I'll proceed forward.
Captain, would you like us to get any samples from the immediate area and stow them on the drop pod?
Let's go look around first. Let's
Okay.
go scout before we get our heads down in the weeds. So,
Roger.
I get rally the troops, and we begin to trek off. Where is the marker for the automaton thing?
So you don't have access to the marker for the automaton necessarily. So it would be actually, let's see. That's actually a good point. I would say that you could have had something like that installed or updated into your tracker pad. I would say. I would say if you wanted to have that installed, you could utilize that in a different means that wouldn't necessarily burn a whole charge. How about this? We'll homebrew it, and I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, I would say that if you wanted to activate just like a segmented portion dedicated to that through your tracker kind of life force detector, you could have that done. Or you could have had that done, and you could do that.
Okay.
But I will say
I do want to start heading off into the direction of the automaton, or
yes, and I will say, even if that updated into your thing, you also kind of built into that same pad. You do have like a directional kind of compass-like directional device that is actually it is going to be kind of determined and set before you go out in the mission and into the operating area, because obviously like the compass doesn't necessarily work the same way on the material plane as it does here, but it is like kind of predetermined, preset to certain locations that could be that are kind of almost triangulated and synced up with the same way that your brief was given. So the directions that the brief was given is the same way that your compass is set. So so you know generally where southeast is from where you guys need to go.
Okay.
Let's
begin our trek.
I will
boys.
say though, before you do, Brother Valdis, you said you weren't necessarily packing everything up. You wanted to at least establish yourself outside, or you wanted to grab everything.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to look. I guess we're looking. Captain,
Yes.
I'm gonna return for the gear.
Copy. All right. Go grab everything. We'll begin our trek.
Okay, so you go ahead and grab everything. You go into the
Yeah,
drop
I'll
pod.
just go back down.
You go ahead and gather.
We recognize there's no like immediate visible danger, hopefully, and so.
Yep. Then honestly, one noticeable thing is as you're looking around, nothing seems, besides the pus and the ooze and the whatever that's excreted from these fractured holes and things that are covering these infected trees. So it's a slow running, but it does move. It is moving. Other than that, doesn't seem to be very much, occupying the space around you. And I would say after a quick little venture with, or a quick little return into the pod with Valdis as he gets everything set, you guys can go ahead and all kind of collectively make your way back up. Oh my gosh, this boss fight music. What the hell?
I'll grab one of the extra respirators.
Yes.
Leave one in the pod.
Everyone has their own. So there's 5. So everyone has theirs already.
Takes the extra one.
So you take the extra one?
Take
Well,
one
you wouldn't
extra.
take both? You would take
grab
both
one. I leave one in the pod just in case.
Oh.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
so everyone has one already, so there's 5. So you have to not take one if you wanted to leave one in the pod.
I wouldn't carry one with me.
Right. So you're leaving yours in the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they already 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yes, I'm counting for 5 members. You have 4. That's right. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like low key
I'll
counting
take
myself.
one.
So
Yeah, and then then I'll grab like the bag.
okay, I apologize. Yes, so you leave one. You take an additional one for yourself, even though it's not necessarily required for your actual use, thankfully. And as you make your guys' way back up, or Valdez, you make your way back up. You guys reconvene. Tiberius, you go ahead and check your built-in kind of directional device here, and you go ahead and kind of line yourself up for southeast as you guys all are stepping now into the festering woods, hopefully towards your quarry and your destination that you need to get to. And we'll go ahead and end tonight there. Oh,
Damn.
All right.
hell yeah. Sick. All right.
Chaotic entrance.
Hell yeah. I was going to say, woof, you're doing so good there, Corey, and then it just it got kind of weird.
Nah.
Bro, it got there. It just was a little fast.
It was just a little funky for
It was a
sure.
little too efficient.
Oh, he said a little too much. All right, well, we will go ahead and end the episode there. We thank you, everybody who's hung out and watched and just, partook in the adventure with us. We will be continuing next time. Obviously, check the Twitch schedule for any updates, anything towards the actual, to our streams. And until the next time, we hope to see you there and take it easy. Peace out.
Bye-bye.